live in the place to be. My brother.
Yeah.
What's
My
up,
brother.
bro?
What it is, Quo?
You know, working.
Yeah, man. I know. I know, man.
Yeah,
Yo, you
we cut it
working?
real close.
You working? Yeah, man. Sometimes we cut it, razor thin close, but that's
We
what we
do.
do with the ProQuo Show. We try to pack in the most that we can for all the people. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
and sometimes we're just late.
That is also the other case, that's the flip side of the
Absolutely.
coin.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was feeling that intro. You know what? It's funny. I want to just start right out and get right into it. I was feeling that
Mhm.
intro. I was thinking to myself, like, that music that's in there, that's chandeliers, right?
Chandeliers.
That's chandeliers, right?
Nico LP2 from France.
Tell them, man. And some people
It's
heard
the
the
worst
full
accent
version.
ever.
We used to rock that for people that are real diehard listeners, who are really following the show. We used to actually rock that with the lyrics once upon a time. We had the
That's
J.
right.
Cruz segment of there. And so some people are like, yo, what's that song actually sound like? And we're going to run that. We're going to run that for the people.
Ooh,
So,
and that's a good 90% right there. They're gonna get.
yeah, that for people that don't know what we're talking about too, we always say when we give you this behind the scenes, right? We're trying to give you us when we're about 90% on these songs. So when they're 90% ish, right around there, if we hit that level, we feel comfortable playing them. And the reason we're doing it, right? We're always talking about this, right? Cole, we every week we're like we want to lift the veil, but it's not just for lifting the veil's sake, like because we want to be, transparent with you. That's all good, but
Mhm.
really, we're in a new era. And never before have you been able to really share your stuff at this level, right? Before it comes out. Here's
Yeah,
feedback with people all over the world. We take your feedback. You are actually contributing to our album that is going to drop. And when we do the release here, we're going to do the full thing. You know what I'm saying? But you play a part, and we take
big time.
that input. So please let us know, when you're feeling the stuff, or not feeling it, or loving the hook, or hating the hook. Let us know. Say, if you're an engineer, you can EQ that a little different. We're working on it. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate it.
Yeah, we wide open, man. I mean, there's no, the only thing that we know is accurate is the instant brotherhood and the fact that we got some dope beats
Mm,
and we've got the most incredible set of lyrics when we take Pro and Quo and mesh them together. And that has no ego in it at all. That's just speaking from tenure and speaking from polish. And the result that we have right now is like, it's mind blowing to me that we're doing this in such a short period of time.
yeah, man.
So big ups to everybody involved and also big ups to the mentor, Yoda, aka Professor Lyrical, aka
Hey, big
Lyrical.
ups to you, man. You like
Same, bro.
55% of this. I'm just holding up the rear with the
He said
45, man.
55, but we
This
equal.
is your vision. This is your baby. Let
Okay,
everybody
that's the
know that.
5%. That is true. This is my vision, so I will
Yes.
take that credit. But wait till we get the Pro Quote 2 Instant Brotherhood Volume 2.
That's true.
They don't have any idea what they're gonna get.
That's true. So people, we're
Anyway.
gonna run it for you right now. We're gonna run How We Do,
Mhm.
Chandeliers. That's the song from my intro. If you feel like you know it a little bit, that's what you're hearing it from. So hopefully
Yeah,
you can give us some feedback. Let us know what you're thinking, and we're gonna try to play it for you right about now.
facts.
Yeah, lyrical.
It's how we do, it's how we do.
Yeah,
It's how we do, it's how we do.
extravagant.
It's how we do, it's how we
Y'all
do.
know the locale.
It's how we do, it's how we do.
Pro is that soloist known to go from assistant to associate. Started flowing with Crow cause the fit it was so appropriate. Plus we got a show for them citizens, dope as opiates. Progressive programming, promoting artists, exposing them. Y'all Nickelodeon, rapping salty as sodium. With Pro be giving our quotes for keynote in these auditoriums. My bars alone are Olympic gold at the podium. Now say that bar slower and notice what Pro be showing you. The most provocative co-host, cooperative brother, father to motherhood, supportive of all our goddesses. The flow's positive, provoking these novices to go from pro bono to closing concerts and conferences. Giving the audience everything that they ought to get. Autographs, automatic, in person, virtually holographs. There's no doubt until Gwen Stefani, no holler back. See it like chandeliers till we reappear like the Pontiacs. Playboy.
It's how we do, it's how we do. It's how we do, it's how we
Sing it like chandeliers.
It's how we do, it's how we do.
Chandeliers after
It's
millions.
how we do. Chandeliers crystallize.
Yeah, reminisce
reminiscing on these memories. Benediction while I am presently switching on all of my enemies. Kill that, they have my melodies. It's real rap around parentheses. Chill back, switch these energies. Rems lap, learning chemistry. Watch your imagery, a new path. Grown men defending family. Boom back, we marching heavily. The canvas on some simile, like canvas late for Timothy. The candles lit, so when the lights quit, we shining definitely. Chills in every breath of me. I play your body symphony. Check the choir, walk your destiny. Twice the man I meant to be. Every bar a centerpiece. Pick it off the lemon tree. Authentically involved with my identity. That's why you ate the fruit. Pro said I'm the truth. That's a doctor dropping sign, so you know the math compute. The magician laid my foundation, built me out the booth, raised the roof. Cathedral ceilings in my feelings, chandeliers after millions. Lyrical engineers, architect appealing. Amazed by the children, affected by the flow that I've been given. Selected by the poles, facts and opinions. Measure what you stole, unload, you forgiven. The shades drawn, stop banking on a wish. Escape the hustle that was carrots on a fist. It's lettuce on a plate, rent paid up to date. 401k, 6-5 the escape. The safe net ain't a take debt. It's what you doing on your break. When you laying in your room and permanently contemplate. Or throw your finger up and live the life you trying to make.
ProQuo, it's how we do, it's how we do. It's how we do, it's how we do. It's how we do, it's how we do.
Chandeliers after millions.
How we do.
Chandeliers. There it is. Chandeliers. Yeah.
That's a great record, man.
I like that, man. It's bouncy.
Yeah, and that's definitely staying permanent number
Oh,
two.
you feeling that number two? So you going on a limb and saying permanent, huh?
Permanent.
Because that new bap, I'm telling you, also can feel like a number two. That dive in it sometimes feels like a number two. I think we might have to run that
so
dive in
so
it
for the
later.
people to know too, that we have to play. We might have to just do that. But the way that Pro has been masterfully putting this playlist together. Like we've had a few different change ups, maybe I'd say like 6 different collections.
Oh yeah,
Different arrangements, if not
you
more.
being modest.
Yeah, I'm saying ones that we hung on. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the higher percentage. But the way that the order of your album is so key because like
Definitely.
one song change, the whole vibe
Right.
is like different.
I mean, it's true, man. It's true. It's more for like the classic sort of traditionalist old school album mentality that we still have. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
quite honestly, I mean, we think about it as the album, even though we know well over 50% of the people won't be listening to it in your typical album format, of course, but we
Right.
will.
We will.
And for making the album actually goes with it, even maybe
Mm-hmm.
physical CDs for almost more of like items you can have when you do travel. It's cool. People want to take something, not we're not talking thousands, you know what I'm saying? But for that experience to be a little different, you know what I'm saying? We consider it, and some people do still listen to your whole thing in order when they have the time.
Yeah, and I think what you do is you take that extra time to put it together.
Making
In
the
reality,
great
it's-
again.
Yeah,
Sigma. I like that. Thanks, Sigma.
there's a lot of different things that you do
Right.
that is a gift reality because putting a playlist together seems easy and I've done it and to see how Pro does it is really amazing. But when you can reduce the skip factor, that's the key. You're trying
Yeah.
to say, what would I not skip? How would I say, so the way that you put it together, it's like, I can't wait to hear the next record kind of thing.
Word,
And
word. That's what we're shooting for, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if we feel that way, there's a good sense that unbeknownst to the listener, they're following our algorithm for the album.
Right.
So
Yo, I was playing around with stuff up here, and I noticed I replaced the logo by mistake. I got to talk about it before I put the correct logo up there, which is we gotta get our Hip Hop Citizens logo up there. What am I doing, man? That little logo that was up there, my son made that. So he's been talking about Remember today he wanted to hit you up. He's like, has J. Cruz seen my logo? All he cares about is that you've seen the logo. So
I got to see him starting it, and I was like, this kid's amazing.
we're gonna give him his moment, right? There it is, boom. You know what I'm saying?
Boom,
So
top right corner.
Yeah, top right corner. So, or just take over the whole screen. So he took the logo that was my old logo that I used quite a lot. That was been enhanced for my homework cover for my new single, Homework. It's sort of a play on the original one, and so he was like, well, Daddy, I'm just going to remove the background for you. I was like, cool. So he watches me doing, little logo stuff and everything. So he did this one all himself. I didn't touch the computer. He was very proud of himself and wanted to make sure that some people got a chance to see it, but especially you, Jay Cruz. He needed you to see that because he was like, if Jay Cruz doesn't see that, it's really not official.
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point if Jay
And I'll
Cruz
tell you what,
doesn't see
Henry, you did an incredible job, brother.
Thanks,
Good
man.
job. And I can't wait to see you with your art too, drawing them pictures more, man. Every time I see a new one, it's like step, step, step. So
getting
it's
there.
exciting, man.
He's
He's
getting
a
there.
talented little man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. But yeah, and you know what? I know we don't usually do this, but because we're talking about the order that's so important, right? Let's talk about one that's on the fence for number 2. And you know what one that is? That's another 90% track. That's Dive In. Well, Dive In It, all right? And so Dive In It has to do with it's a little play on the word divinity and divine. And so we have a lot of these overtones that may sound, at sometimes like you might be listening to a Christian rap record. You might be listening to something that's esoteric on one second, right? There's a lot of like spiritual overtones in a lot of these songs too. And so Dive In It, because of our guests. You want to talk about the guest on there?
Yeah, so that's my man Adriendo. Like I met him on IG. Probably it was last year. It was like the spring of last year. I just hit him up actually for the first time in a long time, and he's like, "Yo, I'm so excited," because I was like, "I got the reference for you to hear. Let him know he's going on an album and all that." And then I said, "I feel like I'm gonna let you shine on this record because you really did with what you said."
Yeah.
And it's cool to have a young kid.
Right. Get some
mid-20s.
Yeah, a lot of times you hear some albums and it's like, you're waiting to hear maybe someone you haven't heard before.
Right.
And we talk about this all the time. Like it I don't want to say very easy, but we certainly could have features from a lot of major names. It's been true for my career too. Knowing a lot of and performing with people over the years, right? It's always an honor when people would even consider, having you on their tracks or whatever. But it's also nice to have, cats that you may not have heard that fit the vibe. And we can get more into the concept of instant brotherhood and what it's all about. But it's about this, what we're doing right now. It's a way for people to cope. Times are crazy. This is, for us, it's been our stress relief, our release. We're letting you into sort of our world. And we're really into yours. I feel like my mindset is that we're coming into your home. Yeah, you can see, part of ours or whatever. And when that's nice. But it's like, we're up in your place too, or wherever you're watching. And it's that mutual kind of, give and take, like we said with the music. And when you can hear like maybe a younger cat you haven't heard before, that's vibe fits our vibe, that's a great chance to really sort of expose and introduce people to your concept of instant brotherhood, which has really been about unity at a time when it's probably needed more than ever, whether it's global, domestic, people that we both know appearing on the album. It's been really cool, as opposed to just trying to go, oh, let's get X, Y, and Z to be on the tracks, that really doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it. Yeah, like, if Nas comes over and says he wants to do, a collab, I'm going to do that collab. I'm not talking like that. But sometimes it's just random, you know what I mean? Like, people would be like, yeah, I got X, Y, and Z on there just because you could. And it's like, did it really add that next level thing?
Yeah.
So we're trying to consider that too, Shout out to Leon saying freestyle something. We might have to do that, man. I might have to give you a little freestyle later. But
listen, Pro is the king of freestyle. I'm a very thought-provoked oriented person. I could say a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and I do that on the show for you. That's my this is me freestyling. When it comes to the music and the beats, like, I'm very much pen to paper because I like expressing my thoughts and extending them on paper. So I'll definitely freestyle because reality is off the dome is different than freestyle, if you didn't know.
Absolutely. Well, here's Dive In It, ProQuo featuring Hendo. Let us know what you think.
Produced by my man Major League Beats out of Florida.
Still tweaking it, but here we go.
Yeah, but it's damn close.
My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers. If you try to disguise your appearance, I never will try to come near it. My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers. If you try to disguise your appearance, I never will try to come near it. My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers. If you try to disguise your appearance, I never will try to come near it.
I got that double-edged sword. Ancestor talk, archangels at doors. Ghost in the dark, soul channels dial fours. Before rap, I had my mind on Forbes, pen and pad throwbacks, fires in the Fords, better friends with more laps. Run you off course, might be slipping off the frost. Hillside, we the source. Michael with me, that's a Moby type force. Tribal with my homies, got X, no cross. Valuable, you gotta know me. Liable to sink the rollie. Half of me is never holy. The animal is out, instinct still control me. Want the handle on the pout, heads and tails on the pony. Is the hammer coming out? Hanging trophies in the house, playing oldies, checking routes, holding rosies in my mouth. No EBTs for groceries, man, and cheeses for the mouse. The example for my seeds, sole provider for my spouse. Spiritual physique, diamonds all over my scouts. Give you 1,000 degrees, build the ark, flip the drought.
My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers if you try to disguise your appearance. I never will try to come near it. My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers if you try to disguise your appearance. I never will try to come near it. I stayed in the trap with boys who was making them racks with nothing but waiting to mask. And I separated from that and lo and behold, everyone put a blade in my back. But I'm not tripping or looking for ways to get even. I sit and I pray for my demons, cause everyone who ever thought I would fail is looking for ways that can sneak in and lanes that can be in. And I kindly deny it from you. There's no way a snake could reside in my group. You tried to put tridents in all of my titles and moves. What were you trying to prove?
For the sake of simplicity, say I'm divinity. Body not carrying, boss like I'm Trinity. Gauntlet infinity, probably not many be thinking that prophets the perfect identity. Back to the enclave, Bruce in the back cave. You can bring a badland down like Fenway. You can bring it back, swing swords like senseis. Everybody got to stand rubble at the pen game. Cavaliers, this that end game. In a snap out a rap that will penetrate. It will accelerate, pick up your meditate. No one is better with these thoughts I disseminate. On the interstate, and why the bean down. When I'm in a rental on a meta that I freestyle. DC now, Oliver Queen for that green in the hoodie, you Oliver Queens.
My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers if you try to disguise your appearance. I never will try to come near it. I stayed in the trap with boys who was making them racks with nothing but waiting to mask. And I separated from that and lo and behold, everyone put a blade in my back. My mind and my spirit are really divine and I'm fearless. I'm coming out live and they cheering. I ride with my peers if you try to disguise your appearance. I never will try to come near.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on point, man.
That's that. It sounds good in the whip.
And Sigma, appreciate all the comments, man. That's good information, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading your comments there too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we take it
sure.
all, man. We take it all in consideration, especially after the show. We go back, read this stuff too, and it's great feedback, so we appreciate it. But you want to?
Yeah, that's definitely like you said though. That's a good contender for 3,
right?
Or 2.
A 2, yeah. He's J. Cruz. I want a Grammy for every artist that respects art in service to the masses. Yo, dope, man.
Facts.
Yeah, man. I mean, anyways, I like the order as it is, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? As we tweak songs, they come more into picture. It's a fun process, and I just to all artists again, consider it. I was saying in that video that you were watching, one of me at the old college show there that we were sharing this week.
Yeah.
Thanks. One of the things I was saying to the audience is like, if you're an artist, take your craft as seriously as you possibly can. I was talking about go out and get yourself at least like a pen, right? Like one pen. It doesn't have to be $1 million pen, but I was talking about a nice one that I got from my wife, who's really the engagement. And I was like, get yourself a pen that when it's time to write, like you were talking about pen to paper, that you feel like you're about to create something worthwhile. That isn't just some throwaway trash. And the way your approach can actually manifest itself as the outcome. You know what I mean? So if your mindset is like, I'm going to write greatness right now, it starts to behoove greatness, right? But if you're just like, I'm just kind of sitting on my bed with a ripped up piece of paper and a Bic pen or whatever, and it doesn't feel special, sometimes it won't elicit special, And I'm not talking about materialism and going out and, spending a fortune on stuff, but like even this, like I got one in my little drawer right here, right? Just a little pen. It's in a box. Keep it right there. When I just pull that out the box, I'm like, yo, that's my sword coming out right now. You know what I mean? And we talk about that in a lot of our verses, and that kind of approach, keep your area clean when you record. You don't have to have $1 million, but keep it clean. You know what I mean? Like your mind.
Listen, I'll tell you what, when I get my house and I have my studio on my own studio, I'm getting my $100 pen back, because once you lose $100 pen,
trust me, I know.
I'm like, dog. Yo, give me that 17 pack for $2.99.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out Rhonda. What's up, girl?
What
we
up,
love
Rhonda?
having you on the show. Can't wait to have you back. Appreciate you tuning in with us and all the good comments and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that pen game is I had a really dope pen that I loved.
It could, but honestly, it can be the 17 pens for $1. Put a
Mm-hmm.
sticker on it or whatever. It just, as long as it's like, yo, when I touch this, right? Like I'm putting that. It's like you watch some of these like sci-fi movies. They're putting the magic into the it's into the sword or whatever they're using. The magic is so strong that it has to be kind of inside of it or whatever. But it doesn't have to go to that length. I'm just saying, if you get in that mindset, you keep the area clean when you're writing, you think about it in your head when it's time to write. You think about yourself transcending over to that place, that area that you might write in, even when you're not there. And so your mind can sort of travel to that spot where you can be in the midst of crap. You know what I'm saying? If you've already conditioned yourself that when you're writing, you've levitated to another place. Like I would think about myself, like legs folded on the top of a mountain with the monks or something. You know what I mean? Like in the Himalayas or something. And it's like Luke. At the end of Star Wars, right? The Last Jedi. It's like you think of that astral projection or whatever. And I don't mean to say this to sound all mystical or whatever, but it's just about staying organized, staying focused, staying disciplined, and believing that you're about to create something great. Get yourself in that mind state, and you can take yourself there whenever, so that you can, in a snap, write those rhymes quickly. Sometimes people have to be all like so perfect with everything all the time. I'm saying if you do this as the tradition, right, then you don't need to do it all the time. Then you can be thrown into chaos, and you can still create great art. So that's it.
That's called the process.
The process. I like that. That's
I
gonna be a
like that a
segment,
lot.
I think.
And that is actually a really good segment we should be doing. But I think that is so critical for discipline, and creating a habit and creating like you said, it's almost like when you go to work, if you have a job, right, that you do every day, you get into a system and you put yourself into a system. So, okay, I'm at work. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, kind of thing. So when you do the same thing with your writing and you make again, clean space, nice space, your mind's not thinking about, I got to clean this, I got to do that. It's neat. It's, that's huge. And I remember one time you were like, yo, you need to try to sit down when you write. And I'm like, man, because I'd be pacing like a lion.
Pacing like exactly. I was just gonna say that you're like a lion in there, right?
And what I do is I like the balance, because I know that's a creative energy that I have.
Right.
But sitting down will definitely, I've tried it, and anytime I've sat down, it's allowed me to overcome maybe a mind or a mental gap that I'm having in that writing process, because I'm like, all right, let me hone in, But apply all knowledge, apply all things, try all things. If it makes sense, it seems like it's going to make you better, try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't like it, don't do it, but at least try it.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of too with even I was telling you the other night, even though dealing with this like extreme cold. And by the way, we got to get Don Juan the Mac up in here. Speaking about cold, he's in Texas, so we got to hear from you, Don Juan. I see you behind the scenes back there running around. So when I see you come up,
good.
We might have to bring
he came in safe.
Yeah, bring you back. Also, our man Danny White's in the back room too, in the green room. Shout out to
what
Danny
up, Danny?
White. He's gonna be doing our 5 minutes.
Oh,
of
you know
flames
what's horrible about that? Is that I remember the last time Danny was on, I had to cut off, so I didn't even get to see him.
Oh, yeah, that was back in our infancy when we were just before we were even messing with Hip Hop Citizens. Yeah,
bro, before I was even like doing the show with you, I was communicating with Danny because I liked him so much. I'm like,
Danny's dope. I love Danny. Yeah.
And Danny, I'm telling you right now, I didn't know where your location was. I didn't realize you were like close
Local.
to me.
Yeah.
Did not realize that. I just found you on TikTok. I'm like, this kid's got it off from popping.
Oh, that's how you found Danny? All right, cool.
Yeah, I was studying Gary V, and he was like, TikTok. I'm like, what's this
You always
TikTok?
studying Gary V.
Yeah, Gary. So Gary, and I'm like, you know what? Let me try to like instant brotherhood some people. And that he was actually one of the people I was trying to pull into the movement, because I saw how quick he was with creation, and he was saying something.
Yes.
And always had a message for his, I don't want to give it out, but the Tourette's and all that, and like being proactive and speaking about it and saying, he was there for other people, and it was huge. I'm like, this is really cool stuff. So glad we're going to actually chop it up tonight, because I will not be cutting out on you, Danny. Not tonight for 5 minutes of flames.
Yeah, Danny's a man. Danny's
he's cool.
We're talking more about Danny than our main guest, but that's okay because they're both ill, and I'm glad they're both on tonight. But we got a
main guest,
Shwani James, coming up too.
Check it out. Ready? Watch this. What you gonna get with a Shwani? I'm here. You don't see? What?
Yeah. So, but I want to talk about both of them really quickly too.
Yeah.
Before we bring any of them out here, and before we talk to Don Juan. Don Juan, if you're back there, man, we're gonna bring you in a minute. If you're cool with that, we wanted to get the update on that weather situation. But no, with Danny, right? I met Danny online through another page actually that's on here too. And shout out to all the people that are doing their thing right now on all the hip hop sites. Like so many people doing challenges, and 50 bar challenge is where I actually met Danny for the first time, and just dropping. I said to you, I was like, yo, I think I want to jump in some of these like battle things, right? I got time on my hands I wouldn't normally have, jumped in there, met a lot of real cool people. And I saw Danny spit, and I was just like, yo, this kid's got something. I didn't even know about the Tourette's thing. I just saw Danny spit, and then I heard people talking about it. And, I've met many people with Tourette's and also seen many people with Tourette's that are very talented artists as well. I was talking to Danny, too, about recently on American Idol. It was a young singer on there, just crazy skill, and talking again about how sometimes for certain people, they zone out at that time and the Tourette's sort of goes away. You know what I mean? Like, while the performance is so ill,
Just
right?
for that fact, I'm like, yo, the dude get in his zone and it's like doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right?
And whatever it takes, I know for all of us, hip hop, for the most part, right, has been, it's either a release, it's that safe zone, it's that creative inspiration. And, that's what's so cool about having Ashwani on too, because Ashwani, yeah, he's running for governor of Maryland, right? But I would have had Ashwani on if he wasn't running for governor of Maryland. This dude, not only is he a dope magician, right? Like, Quo.
And
like,
for everybody, that's what I was trying to do earlier with this.
That was your magic trick.
I'm not too good with it.
We love people with multiple talents, right? They bring them together.
Absolutely, yes.
So Ashwani was doing this TED Talk event. My wife was involved with, and I was involved with, and C. Steez. We all met each other at that event. Well, I didn't meet my wife at that event, but and so I got to see him do his thing, and I was like, yo, this cat is sick too. So it's funny because out of all the people that grabbed my attention at the TEDx, it was Ashwani, and then all the people that really initially grabbed my attention on that, the battle and the not really battle, it's just challenge, right? The challenge board. It was Danny. He just stood out, and you're like, there's something about his energy and his authenticity, right, that grabs me. And the authenticity of Ashwani, if it doesn't translate to the voters, I'd be stunned, because he's such an authentic dude. You just know he cares. It's like Rhonda, right? It's just people that care, their passion. I just love that, so I'm excited to bring them on. So, Quo, would you mind if we get a little glimpse at right before we bring on and Danny, right? Want to just give people a taste of what's coming up before Danny, after Danny. Just a little taste of this magic we've been talking about. Like, who does magic that's running for governor, right? It's like, who raps and that's a professor? I mean, like, who does that, right? So,
there's somebody I know that does card tricks as well, man, that I've seen.
I do a little, and we have another interest there. Yeah, we've talked about that. I'm looking for my cards over here, but anyways, I want to just give you a glimpse of what Ashwani Jain is about for his candidacy. So if you live in Maryland, or someone in Maryland, let them know about Ashwani Jain for governor.
How y'all doing? This is a normal deck of cards. I'm going to shuffle it and tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Ashwani Jain, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a 31-year-old who's been lucky enough to beat cancer and go from a Make-A-Wish kid to a Make-A-Wish ambassador, go from a Title I elementary school to later earning 2 bachelor's and 1 master's degree, work in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, and serve in the Obama-Biden White House and 2 federal agencies. I'm now honored to say that I'm a candidate for Maryland governor. Now, if elected in 2022, I would serve as the nation's first millennial governor and Maryland's first governor of color. But while a voice like mine has never been in the governor's office, in a state that is younger and more diverse than it's ever been, voices like mine are growing and need to be represented. And while there may be many great Democrats who enter the field, making it a real full house, I have the experience, perspective, and empathy needed to serve you well as your next governor. To find out more about my experience, policy proposals, or to join the team, please visit janeforgovernor.com. Thanks so much.
That's what I'm talking about.
Jane for governor. Yo, I was like,
dope,
this
right?
dude.
That's how you grab people's attention. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
very well put together.
yeah, and you will soon see that he is as well. When even just when he's just casually speaking to you. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And so I was talking about Don Juan. I'm not sure, what he's always behind the scenes doing this thing. So I'm not gonna bring him in until we see him and get the sign. He's probably dealing with snow, although he's talking about it's gonna be like 70 soon. So
yeah, exactly.
I know you've been getting it out your way too. I know all your cats in Massachusetts.
Yo, so what I guess in New England, this is the thing, right? So you wake up and they tell you like 3-4 days ago, oh, we're gonna have a storm, and then like, well, we're only gonna get an inch.
Yeah.
So they still say we only get an inch. We end up getting like 5 times that.
Yeah, dog.
Okay. And I'm like, I'm so glad. I'm like, he was about to drive in this, man. So New England weather, they off today. 1 inch my behind.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. We got some inches accumulating right now. It's still going.
And I was talking about being up your way today, right? And I was like, or tomorrow originally. Like, nope. No, not trying that right now. Not trying that.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
But we got
crying.
Yeah, man. So we got let's get into Danny White, man. Let's just tell him a little bit more about Danny White. So Danny White's an LMC from Massachusetts. You checked him out. If you've checked him out, check him out maybe how Jay Cruz has. Jay Cruz has checked him out on TikTok. He's got a good following on TikTok, and he's really become very engaged with his fans for real. He's definitely been connected to them the way that we all should really in these times, trying to reach out personally to your fan base. And he's really sort of pioneering in that area right now for a lot of people that were maybe sleeping on TikTok. Myself as well. I'm always talking about that too. Like I'm on there,
unless you listen to Gary.
I got like 3 posts on it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Yo, shout out to real quick. Shout out Fee. What up, Fee?
Absolutely. What's up, Fee? But I was on TikTok for a while, and I was getting so addicted to just like scrolling through, and I was like, I gotta give myself a timeout. You know what I mean? And but I be checking it out and doing my thing.
You know what I
when
I'm
not doing card tricks with Ashwani Jane. You know what I'm saying?
Card tricks.
What
I learned about the feeds, right? Especially with TikTok, was I studied it for about a week and a half, 2 weeks solid, and I built an algorithm from it. But I got to see. The whole time I'm watching, being entertained, but also analyzing what are these people doing? How they getting, so as long as you are doing that and not just like treating it like TV, you better off watching TV, man, sometimes,
Yeah,
but TikTok is cool because you do learn some stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, we're going to hear from him in a minute. We're going to get him up for the 5 Minutes Flames, get a 5-minute interview with him. We're no longer in Dive In It, as I have on my screen still. So we're going to get into.
Rhonda says, when you're cool with your neighbor with the snowplow, it's really good stuff.
Absolutely, right?
I definitely agree with that, Rhonda.
Yeah, because you don't want to be not cool with them with the trash barrels. You know what I'm saying?
No, especially being at the post office. I'm like, why are you going to put the trash barrel right there when you know it's right in front of the box? I got to put mail in that box, and you got the trash barrel right in front of it. Right, Shen? You know all about that. My girl coming in right now, she's shaking her head. She's like, Oh, don't forget, we're probably going to be getting another episode of that Shen and Kath Wine and Dine segment.
What?
Because undercover, what I forgot to tell the people is that Shen is, by trade, a chef.
There we go. I knew that was coming. Well, so is this.
It's still coke, still dope, still cocaine. It's low flow, still lyricals, ill spit propane. Up in your grill without that profane. Road rage, it's ProQuo, bro. That's the flow plus the show's name.
Ask your question to SoundCloud and Twist. All right, so we're gonna run this Gaslighting by Danny White. Y'all let us know if you're feeling it. Let Danny know if you're feeling it. He's gonna be up here right after that. We're gonna be talking to him for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna jump into Ashwani Jane.
Yeah.
Y'all judge me as a person that was based on who you used to know. I'm not the same kid who grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You're insecure, you think my confidence is arrogance. Every flaw they have, trust me baby, I'm aware of it. COVID ain't the reason that I am not around. I'm not socially distant, I just don't fuck with clowns. Looking at my younger self and I just hope that he proud. The ones who hate the most, I see it shows up in the crowd. I used to wonder like, where's all this doubt from? Just a bunch of losers who to focus on my outcome. They don't see the dark inside, just a light that's in my eyes. Giving out a taker, you should see me with a vice. They probably like me when I chose to just be passive. How many rappers genuine? How many rappers capping? If you bothered by the question, you should take a self-inspection. Hope some people hear this and you truly feel offended. I could give two fucks on what y'all gotta say. Probably tell it to your friends, never say it to my face. Always kept it cool, even when they throwing shade. I only put my time and energy in those who can relate. I have real life issues, all that other shit is fake. Y'all need drama, cause without it, your life is fucking lame. I'll never show love to a city if the love is not reciprocated. Everything I've done was only done cause I ain't innovated. But I ain't tripping, but yeah, I'm getting pissed. I'm sick of questions on my character from ones I hope will win. I'm sick of disrespect. I really try, but this is strenuous. I hate assumptions from the ones that I know disingenuous. Real bright kid, catch me walking with the shadows. Hard to go be deep when everybody around you shallow. I try to stabilize the instability within me. Popping jiffy, smoking spliffies, hoping somewhere here will get me. I've been on the ledge, letting that pressure help me cope. Since I'm familiar with failure, I'm not nervous on my toes. So when mess up the bat, if they feel they can't afford it, cause abandoning their resistance is a mode that I was born in. I can tell when my back against the wall. Ain't too many people that I know that I could call. I could tell you about it all. I could tell you about the ones who only care to see you fall. Yeah, you help them out a pound, don't mean that they your dog. They the type to roll the dice, only if it's in their yards. Here's the reason I don't put these people first. I took some time to self-reflect, and that's what helped me see my worth. If you don't celebrate my life and celebrate when I pass, give that rose to my mother. After that, kiss my ass. If you bother what I say, or how I choose to move, do me a favor. Go and tie your fucking boots. If it fits, you better wear it. Danny Phantom, Holy Spirit. If you think this is about you, I would probably feel embarrassed. Only ones I had in mind when I wrote this song is the result of every person that I know that did me wrong. So if you feel some type of way, I feel like taking action, please remember, I am just reacting. Y'all some gaslighting bozos, frauds, y'all some bastards. Don't get mad at me, cause I'm just out here simply rapping.
Phantom.
Yeah, in the Phantom.
Danny, you remember when I was chopping it up with you, bro? I was like, yo, Danny. Yeah, brother. It's good to finally actually meet you 100%, man.
What's good, Danny Phantom?
It's so
Great
crazy,
record.
too, because I didn't make the connection between TikTok until after. And I'm like...
The light went off. Yeah.
I was like, yo. I was like, that's great.
Yeah, man. So tell us, man. What's up with that gaslighting, man? When did that come out?
So I did that about a week ago. I only put it on SoundCloud because I'm still actually working on the mix.
We know about that.
Mm-hmm. It's great that you was able to show us like that too, because it still sounds official.
The mix is thick.
I wanted to put it out too because the reason why I called it gaslighting is so I sent the song to a couple of YouTube reviewers, and like one of them had like 1,000 people watching, so it was getting hundreds of comments, and every single comment was the same thing. Oh, this kid's mad arrogant. He thinks he's probably some white kid from the suburbs. When really the entire song, it's called gaslighting because, you know, when someone gaslights you, they're dismissing your issues and your problems that you're trying to be vocal about. And it's basically just me talking to everyone. Like, I hate assumptions from the ones that I know are disingenuous. Like, it's basically just me responding to everyone in my life that either makes, like, assumptions about me, or like I just kind of do my own thing and people would just like talk and talk. And that's why at the end I was like, don't get mad at me because I'm just reacting. Like I don't start beef. If someone says something, I speak up for myself.
I'm gonna tell you something real quick, Danny. You know, couple things. Number one, no one can duplicate that flow. That's 100% authentic from yourself. That flow is.
I got it in my head, and I got it in my head all day. You know what I'm saying?
Cutting them words nice, man. It's effortless, and that's because you put the time in to make yourself get to that point. So that can be felt. Number one, you got to respect that. Number two, they hating on you because you putting better bars out than them.
Doing something right when they hating, Danny.
Exactly. That's great.
Right.
Applaud the haters. Bye, hater.
Yeah, man.
Good job, man.
It
was an inside joke.
I'm working on a tape called Pinocchio, but I decided I'm going to do two sides of it. And this song is going to be on the second side. The first side's Pinocchio, but the second side is Geppetto, which is... So Pinocchio is basically all my, like, the songs about my doubts and insecurities I've had my entire life. But the Geppetto side of it is me, like, on the days where I am confident, and so it's like
Mastery.
a sword. So it's like I go from being the puppet,
Yeah.
like having Tourette's, to being the puppeteer, the one that's like
That's
it looks
dope.
like I'm on
That's a dope
control,
concept.
control what I do. So
Yeah, that's really dope.
Yeah, man. Those details, man. Those details
Yeah.
matter. Speaking of which, right? I wanted to ask you this as part of a sort of a formal interview. So, for other MCs out there that are trying to find their way through navigating social media, whether it's choosing like podcasts to be on webcasts and so forth, or expanding their social media reach through the YouTubes and the TikToks of the world, with the success that you've had, how would you say it's best to go about it, and what has worked to manifest these incredible results that you've been getting?
Finding your avenue in your lane. The one thing I notice, you know, is there's 100 roads to success, but you have everyone taking like the same 3 to 5 roads.
Mm-hmm.
And like with hip hop, you know, everyone wants to be on World Star. Everyone wants to be on Hot 97. Everyone wants to go to the Breakfast Club. Everyone wants to do a Funk Flex freestyle and all that. When really there's a million other places, and no one really cares about just your bars anymore. They care about the type of person you are. Because now with the internet, the world is at our doorsteps, and it's like music isn't as appreciated as it was in the 90s because music is so accessible and we have such short attention spans. You need other ways for people to connect with you. And everyone wants to identify with someone. And like I'll see not like a lot of my friends, but I pay attention to local artists. It's a big common trope in the battle rap community is the only things they'll ever put out is just how great they are, and which is cool. But like, who are you as a person?
Right.
And it's like, unless you're making like a certified hit that you know for a fact, and when people hear it, like it's just like, you know, those songs when someone hears it and you're like, this song's crazy.
Absolutely,
And it's
You see why I was trying to pull him in on the instant brotherhood thing, man. I was like, this cat.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
Philosophy. He's got a great philosophy.
Let's pin in though, because we don't have too long. But I want to pin in, you know, sort of laser focus. How though have you gone about doing that?
I highlighted my interests. You know, even though I have Tourette's, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh my God, Tourette's," but a week later they don't care anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And for me, spreading awareness for Tourette's is important.
Sure.
But there's so many people that are like, damn, not only does he rap about having Tourette's, but he raps about like anime. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that follow me are like, wow, like
I love how you put that in there. What was it? The Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever?
Oh yeah. Same person that y'all knew playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I'm not that same little kid that, you know, was bullied growing up. Yeah. And it's
Jay's calling him Yu-Gi-Oh, but forgive him.
But I
caught my attention.
And I wear my heart on my sleeve because it's one of those things where a lot of people don't like to do that.
Right.
When someone's vulnerable, but like you can tell it comes from a genuine and real spot, people want to hear about that. But it's one of those things too where you have to know how to wear your heart on the sleeve, but at the same time be like, haha, you guys still can't do shit to me.
Yeah, right.
People that watch that and they're like, wow, he was in my position before. That's why so many kids with disabilities follow me, because they're like, wow, if he has Tourette's and he's doing all this and all these people support him, maybe I can too.
Sure.
Because a lot of people unfortunately victimize themselves, and you know, they just assume they can't do something because a bunch of other people told them that. Like rapping, it took me a long time to really get a flow, and because one of my tics, like I grit my teeth. There's a lot of times where I go to the studio or I try to rap and I don't even record anything because sometimes my tics are so bad. Like,
well, I was going to ask you about that. Like I know from, especially when we're talking about on the boards, right? Watching you on 50 Bars Challenge and so forth. A lot of times you just freestyle half your verse.
That's why.
So that's where I was going. Okay.
I don't have the mental fortitude sometimes to sit there and write 50 bars.
So let me ask you this: when you write it, right? Yeah, because that's incredible. Yeah. When you write your verse, right? Do the tics occur more when you're reciting a written verse?
Yeah, sometimes I can't even rap. I can't even rap to myself unless I have the beat on and I'm rapping out loud, and I kind of
the freestyle kind of lets you forget that.
Like throwing a baby bird out the nest, they ain't gonna fly. Like you got to throw them out. Like if they're
get them fly, right?
Yeah. I was at the studio yesterday and I was in my car, and I wrote like I was trying to say my verse, but I couldn't. But once I got into the studio and I had my phone there and like I kind of knew what I was gonna say, I kind of got to it.
No
Yeah.
doubt. What's
Good
what's the
job,
next
man.
what's the next move up for you then? What's the next what are the plans for Danny White, Danny Phantom, excuse me, coming
So
up?
I'm working on a tape. I'm gonna be moving out in a couple months. I actually just moved back with my parents. I'm just kind of
Word.
setting a little bit, taking a little break from certain things.
Yep.
But I plan on streaming more. I actually have a couple pretty big video game creators that I can't say yet.
I love how you just did
I
that,
hear
bro.
you.
Say
It's like
pretty
pretty big. Yeah,
big.
you can't
One of
drop it
those-
all, but you can drop a little.
It's one of those things where some of my friends are gonna see me streaming with a certain person, and they're gonna be like, "How?
You
How
want to have a
did you
dream? You were like, what are you talking
And
about?
that's another thing. All exclusively all the opportunities I've ever had, or just had people come to me, is just if you're just not an asshole to people,
Right,
but in a genuine way,
right.
like things just work out and people
Yeah.
want to work with you. It's like Gary Vee
Indeed.
said that. Like Gary Vee remembers the people that weren't dickheads to him in the past.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like I've been to a couple video shoots at like Joyner Lucas, Token, Chris Webby. I don't even mention I rap
Mm.
at all. I try to just let them get to know Danny.
Yeah, that's dope
Because-
advice to a lot of MCs out there, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be the first thing you lead with, man.
That's
That's smart.
another thing. Like, don't make them make them a fan of who you are as a person,
Hashtag.
and then because confirmation bias is a real thing,
Mm.
and people will have a confirmation bias. There's a couple songs I have that I know for a fact if someone wasn't a fan of me and they heard it randomly, they'd be like, ah. But because they know me as a person, they know where
Yeah.
I'm coming from. They're like, damn.
Indeed. That's why I was trying to actually get you into the feed a little bit too while your thing's playing, even though sometimes we don't always do that. But
Yeah.
one of the have people make the connection because a lot of times on that on SoundCloud it's not like seeing your video. I know you got videos too. You want to tell them about your video before we get you out of here?
My name is.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I did an Eminem. My name is remix, which is hilarious because I've had Eminem.
I think it's dope,
fans
man.
Yeah. Eminem fans have hit me up and be like, "Yo, bro, you can't touch Eminem."
It's funny hearing
I'm
that
like-
you did that. It's like I'm kind of like, really? And then I was like, yo, he killed that. It
So
was nice.
I did it because I wanted to challenge myself. I'm not even a big fan of Eminem. That's a crazy.
Right.
Like I've never been into his music.
Yeah,
yet.
I owned one album myself.
But
I've never kind
I
of kept up
acknowledge
with
him.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
me
the
too.
rapper.
Unbelievably skilled. Yeah,
Yeah,
He
like
is dope.
sonically not so much, but yeah.
Yeah, like my most listened to rapper of all time is Guru, Mac Miller, and Kid Cudi. But so my name is I wanted to take an iconic song that people have no business remixing, and I wanted to see if I could just make it my own thing.
Dope.
So when people hear it, like I made sure I didn't I even listened to a song afterwards when I recorded it,
Mhm.
and I counted as syllables. I make sure we didn't have the same rhyme scheme. the
Wow.
same
Good
cadence.
man.
Smart.
Wow, that's really dope.
And so there's been some people that are like, "Wow, you stole his flow." I'm like, "You don't know. You don't know."
For the record, in the video, you didn't jump up to the top of the hoop. I think I saw behind the scenes, right?
My friends picked me up, and I literally I got to my waist, and then I had to lunge over. It took 20 minutes to
All
get
right.
it. Then it
Behind the scenes. Check
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
Danny White's video, yo. You gotta check him out on YouTube, man. Find Danny White out there. Find him on
Yeah.
TikTok. We gotta let you run, Danny. But when you get more material drop, we're gonna have you up for a full session. All right?
Absolutely. And Danny, real quick before you go, what's your at for IG and TikTok?
Absolutely.
So if you go to TikTok, just look up Danny White. I'll be the first thing that pops up. But on
That's dope.
IG, it's Danny WH814. So
All right.
Danny WH
814.
814.
Yeah, hit it up inside the chat. Make sure we got it out there. But that's dope, man. We appreciate you coming through. Hope you check out Ashwani Jane. Yo, he's got a hip hop playlist, man.
Ashwani.
Not just hip hop. So maybe we'll get
Yep.
some Danny White on that playlist eventually.
Oh,
too.
I got a lot of songs coming too. So
Dope, man. Always a pleasure, my man.
yeah, thanks
Yeah,
so much.
for real. Hey,
No
salute my dude.
Hell yeah, we definitely gonna be chopping it up more.
For
Please, man.
sure. Peace out.
Danny
man.
White. Danny
That's
White,
great.
man. Yeah,
He's such a good,
Danny's a
good,
man.
good
He's
kid,
a
man.
great dude, man. He's talented, and he's right, man. We talk about this all the time, yo. It's like people, if people don't know you, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many people out there to hear. You know, yeah, we love the music we're making, but of course, right? We're making our own music, but
Yeah.
it's got to be more than just the music you're making. People got to really have a reason to out of the busier than ever days. Because, you know, it's funny. So about social media and TikTok and things, that's stealing time from people. That's why people are so busy, right? There's so much to distract you. So what's going to make you stop scrolling on TikTok to really check out Danny's entire album when it drops? You know what I'm saying? And you got to like him. You got to be checking for him, and you got to want to see him. Right before we bring in Ashwani, we're going to bring him in a second. I want to get my man Don Juan, the Mac, up in here for a second. And we got to find out what's up with him in Texas, man.
Yeah, Don Juan. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Don Juan? What it is? Oh yeah, we always catching him like when he's doing his production thing.
What's up, brother? Oh, we ain't hearing him yet.
Yeah, it's all good. You know, we see him trying though. It's fun to watch him try.
He's making an effort.
You know? It's like
they're getting hit, man.
It's like me when I'm trying to I'll jump in here and I'll be like, why am I hearing myself? And I realize my headphones are still plugged into the computer and not the little box. I'm like, yo. But and this is the producer behind the scenes, and he can't figure out how to get himself on. We loving it, man.
Oh, there we go. I think we hear
man.
you. I think we hear you.
Oh man,
there you are.
Oh, you guys threw me up here, and I'm gonna hear.
That's how we do, man. We just throw you right to the fire. Yeah, we just throw you right in there.
Hey, glad to see you safe, man. So tell what's up with Texas right now? What's going on, man?
We're thawing out. I think it's a little bit rough for people who are not used to snow. What I found is, you guys know I'm from the East Coast as well, the Midwest. We've seen snow before, but Texas has no infrastructure. The days before the snow actually came, we saw the big pile up in Fort Worth. I think like 100 and something cars, right? That was an ominous warning that, the roads do not get any treatment. And then I think what we saw is with the blizzard is just that. I mean, they didn't even treat the roads. I mean, I saw a split screen on CNN where they showed like the Texarkana. One side of the street is Arkansas, one side of the street is Texas. In Arkansas, a state that probably doesn't have a population any more than 2 million, was able to clear all of their roads in their state. And so I think that's pathetic. And it speaks for Texas preparing to succeed from the union. That's a big talk here in Texas. Why they have their own grid. That's why they have their own Air Force. That's why they have their own CDC. Texas is preparing to succeed from the union one day, and clearly we're not ready.
That sounds like some talk for Ashwani Jain, our next guest. I hope you gonna check out Ashwani, man. He's gonna be breaking it down for about a little behind the scenes.
I can't wait, man. Ashwani.
Oh, by the way, just real quick on that and things of that nature, who are worse off than we are. One of my children's were actually impacted. We had to bring her in with me because she said they were crawling to the second floor because the base, their first floor is just flooded. And a lot of people are without water. So my prayers are with you, and maybe we'll talk later. But I was shocked that Texas was people.
Governor Cruz looks like it's all good. I mean, he's skating out to Mexico, right? Like no harm, no foul.
I had 1 hour electricity, and I made that one tweet. I said, "Does anyone know what Senator Cruz is doing?" And a lot of people were defending Cruz. A lot of people were defending Cruz, and we're going to talk about that.
Really?
Y'all could defend. Look at y'all could defend me. Okay.
Really?
I don't know who this other dude is, real quick. Just to throw that out there in the atmosphere.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate that you're good, man, and thanks for letting people know the real situation. And that's real though about the situation out there. We don't hear enough about it. We get glimpses of it. I caught it yesterday in full. I sat down and really watched what was going on, and it's crazy. I mean, the pictures are nuts, and just when you think about, like you said, people aren't prepared to deal with snow out there. An inch is like a foot, so you can imagine when it's significant and not having the power reserves. It's serious. It's really serious.
Make sure y'all say some prayers out there. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Good energy is always appreciated.
Yeah. A lot of fundraisers going on, and I haven't seen $1 yet, so I don't know where the money. Check where your money's going.
Word. All right, thanks, Don Juan.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you, brother.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring in, without further ado, get in Ashwani Jain, candidate for governor of Maryland. What's up, Ashwani Jain?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Very good.
Well, sir.
Good. Thank you so much for having me. If I can just start off by saying, yes, sending prayers to everyone in Texas, and then obviously sending continual prayers for everyone who's been, hit with COVID or had a family member struck with COVID. It's the elephant in the room, but we have to always talk about it because it's a serious issue. But I'm really appreciative to be here.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. Now, we started out, you obviously saw that we came with the the magic, right? And so for people who don't know Ashwani Jain, because we're gonna get into the politics, but we're gonna talk about what is this magic stuff and how do the two marry? Like, how did that come up? And you're using it right in the campaign. I love that. So tell us a little bit about your background with magic and how that seeps its way into the Ashwani Jain candidate for governor of Maryland program.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, from a starting point, right, I think, and you mentioned this at the top, that, this podcast, music, it's an escape, right? And that's the beauty of art, whether it's music, movies, in my case, magic. It shows us what is and also what can be. And really, it's about believing in yourself, practice, dedication, figuring out how do you connect with other people in a unique way. So that's kind of the context. But for me, I'm 31. 18 years ago, when I was 13, I was in the middle of 8th grade. I was diagnosed and treated for a type of cancer called non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Obviously, very scary. Nothing you want to hear at any age. But for a kid, right, it just threw up my whole world. And then I remember sitting in the hospital, feeling like my life was over, feeling like I wasn't going to get to leave the four walls of that hospital room. I saw kids younger than me sitting next to me lose their battles. I felt guilt for the pain that I was causing my parents and my family. It put a lot of things in perspective. And so that's when I thought, if I have an opportunity to get a second chance at life, I'm going to make it count. Wow. So as I'm kind of going through this journey, there were moments where I was sitting in the hospital room, getting my chemo, and these two doctors took time out of their lunch breaks to go around to each of the kids' beds and perform some small magic tricks. And I remember looking at that. I said, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Two, I forgot about everything. I forgot about all my pain, the surgery, the struggles. And then also I saw every kid around me also feel the same sense of excitement and joy. But then the doctors left. And then, here we kids are again stuck for 8 hours getting this medicine put into us. And I was really fortunate. They found my tumor at an early stage. I got to go home every night. A lot of these kids didn't. And so that's when I was like, you know what? Why don't I learn some small magic tricks so that I can perform for these kids while the doctors are away doing their other jobs? Because I wanted to replicate that sense of feeling of joy that I got with these other kids. And so that's how I started learning magic, and it just grew from that. But again, it goes back to this idea of what can we do to better ourselves and also better those around us, because it makes us live a better and fuller life, I think.
Dope.
Huge. Very powerful.
I was wondering if magic is going to find its way into the voting process, because a lot of people seem to think that voting in this country has some tricky things going on, and I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering if there's any sleight of hand going on. None of that, right? It's just
no. See, with all my magic tricks, it's all about transparency.
Just find the bottom card.
I like that.
You know exactly what I'm about to do, and I put it all out there. So that's how I view magic. All right.
There we go. Yeah. So being this close to the obviously part of the DMV, what was your take, and what is your take still on the situation that unfolded at the Capitol?
I mean, it was a terrorist attack. It's very clear to say that. And, I find it interesting in a couple ways, right? There were hundreds of armed white folks who stormed one of the safest places, or supposedly safest places in our country, during a peaceful transfer of power. Right. And I remember months before at that same spot, and for the last couple of years, when we have people of color rightfully protesting their right to exist and be treated equally, they get treated much, much worse.
Sure.
And so there's definitely this systemic racism was very prevalent. Not to mention that we failed at a peaceful transfer of power. And what we saw with the Senate recently is that we're not even holding those accountable for causing the issue in the first place. So it's really sad at the end of the day. It's disgusting. It's a bad day for democracy. But all we can do is fight the injustices at a local level, at a state level, and at least try to raise awareness of what needs to be done moving forward.
Absolutely. So would this be part of the platform for you in terms of one of the things that you're speaking to in your candidacy for governor?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously different. In
I
terms
mean
of,
locally too, for Maryland. I don't mean necessarily for the capital, of course.
yeah, of course. I mean, so the two main reasons I'm running for governor in the first place is to make the state government more inclusive and accountable, and to also take a comprehensive approach to solving all the different issues that my residents face. And that ties into, what we saw in the Capitol. That ties into, regardless of what state you're in. We were talking about Texas earlier, and Senator Cruz, right? This idea of how do you engage new people in the political process and show people that at its best, politics is the physical act of empathy. It is figuring out what are the problems in my community and what can I do to make it better. Now, yes, when you don't have that, when you have folks that are in it for the money, in it for the power, do not reach out to different communities, then yes, people have a tainted view of what the system can do. But I've seen firsthand the great things that politics can do as well. And that's why I threw my hat in the race.
Absolutely. It's crazy. It's funny. The shirt that I'm wearing, which is totally coincidence, is the March for Our Lives back from March 24th, 2018 in DC. And it's funny with activism. I had spoke to my class in DC about the march. And so for people that were living locally, in DC, the entire class wasn't aware that the march was actually going on in their backyard. And to hear that now with the level of activism that has taken place over the last year or two, really, right? I mean, obviously since pre-George Floyd, but let's even just start there. The level of awareness that young people now seem to have that are in the community that is called into question seems to be at an all-time high. So there has to be some positive, at least in that regard, and that people seem to be more active and involved in their government and their legislation than ever before. Is this true? Am I reading too much into it? Or do you feel that young people, and this is important for a young candidate like yourself, do you feel that young people will come out and be involved in the vote? And if not, how do we get them more involved? And how will you?
Yeah, so to your first part, it's definitely true. I mean, you saw in 2018 nationally, there were more first-time people, candidates running for office, a lot more young people, diverse people, women running for office, getting elected to Congress and other offices, newly registered voters. So there is definitely a lot more engagement in the process, which I think is beautiful and great.
Sure.
But that's where a candidate really needs to come in and campaign not just to the areas where you focus on the same old voters who vote in every cycle, but also reach out to rural communities, colleges, universities, high schools, places where they may not have high voting numbers, but they're still part of the community and need to be heard. And that's really the genesis of my campaign, is really building an inclusive and accessible platform of policies, and also way in which I reach out to folks and include them in the process. Because I think at the end of the day, that leads to more accountable and transparent and sustainable governing.
That's great. Hey, Ashwani, Rhonda had a question. Can you speak about redistricting efforts in your area?
Yeah, I mean, redistricting in Maryland, there's been a lot of back and forth. This year, I think they moved it back to next year, where the state legislature is going to kind of do a whole redistricting effort based on the census data. But I think the core of the issue is, how do we draw these lines in nonpartisan ways, right? I'm sure we all have seen these lines of congressional districts that are drawn in a way where you're like, what shape is that? How are you making these lines? And a lot of it is to exclude certain people, often minority communities, low communities, from actually voting. And so I think what we need is a nonpartisan, independent committee that oversees all of these efforts, so that we're actually, again, going back to an inclusive way of governing, and also making sure that we're not denying anyone, regardless of your party, the right to vote, because that is really sacred. People have died for it, and it's the only way that you can keep people accountable.
Yeah, I mean, the gerrymandering stuff is insane, and for people that I think aren't as maybe involved as yourself and aren't aware of the level that this has been pushed to. I mean, you'll hear people argue. They'll say, well, it happens on both sides. And does it happen on both sides, or is this is this a partisan thing, or is this something that's more exclusively happening on the right or the left? I mean, what's your take on that as far as Maryland's concerned? What does it look like in Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, listen, elephant in the room. Yeah, it happens on both sides. Maryland, our state legislature is majority Democrat. I'm a Democrat. So I can argue for other things. In general, what we have seen, Republican leaders, not voters, but Republican leaders tend to make it very difficult for people to vote. We saw this in the presidential election. We've seen this time and time again. They don't want people
to get out.
Diverse communities, low-income communities, people of color to vote, and they enact laws that make it difficult to do that. Yeah, so that's being done. But in Maryland, even though we have a Democratic legislature that tries to look at things in a nonpartisan way, at least when it comes to redistricting, there is going to be some partisanship involved, which is why I support a nonpartisan independent committee that does all these efforts.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, your personality is, I'll be voting for you ASAP. You know, it's funny because with Pro being a professor and all that, I didn't do good in school. Okay. Except when my teacher was really, really good. And they connected with me on that level of person to person respect, right? And treated me like a human being, more or less, not a student. And that's the key, because the majority of people don't vote, right? I mean, when it comes to the minority sections. So to have someone that they can be interested in and actually be like, wow, I like this guy, right? That's the key. Because now for me, I'd be starting to pay attention. I'm not really into politics that much. I have a specific belief, but meeting Pro, he's brought a few people on that have kind of schooled me on it. And I'm like, what do you actually, you could support the guy that's good for your community. It's helping you directly, So I like what I'm hearing.
And I appreciate that very much. But I mean, that's what it's about, right? It's about making personal connections, kind of like what Danny was saying, right? Like actually showing who you are as a person first. And then I think a lot of times one of the reasons why people are disconnected to politics, right, is some of the reasons I mentioned earlier, but also because you don't get a sense that these people understand what my day-to-day life struggle is, right? These politicians, they're kind of far away. They don't know me. They don't know my life. And so that's the argument that I'm making in my case for governor is not only do I understand how the systems of power work through my work with President Obama and then Vice President Biden, but I also understand the real impact of policies. I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a first generation American. I'm a product of public schools. I went to a Title I elementary school. I've lived all in different kinds of communities. I grew up in a small business family. I understand what a lot of people are going through and the impact of policies, including the inequities. And I think that is something that should not just be true for my campaign. It should be true for anyone who goes into politics, so that people like you who may not care about politics because you have so many other things going on in your life, you will be able to relate, you'll be able to see some progress, and you'll be able to feel like you have a partner in your government.
So explain or speak more to this. We want to hear about that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is all about the idea of the power of young people, right? I mentioned that I would be the first millennial governor in the nation. Why is that important? In my state, for example, my state is much younger and more diverse than it's ever been, but that voice has never been represented. Young people as a whole, right? In every election cycle, you'll hear from politicians say, hey, we need more young and diverse volunteers. But then as soon as any one of us young people try to step up and take a leadership role, we're told, hey, kid, just sit down and be quiet.
Right.
And again, this is true beyond politics, right? This is not true of politics alone. And so I think that's why there's a disconnect. But if you look at any movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, the climate change movement, the gun advocacy protection movement, everything that we were talking about, they're all started by young folks.
Yep.
And so what I'm trying to do with my campaign is not just open that door of opportunity for myself to be the first, but I really want to create that opportunity for everyone else behind me to show, hey, this is a platform. I'm trying to elevate voices that are like mine, elevate voices of people who feel marginalized and feel like they don't have a voice, they don't have a seat at the table, and they should.
So for speaking, that's great. I mean, speaking more to people like what Jay was saying, if folks aren't really invested in historically voting before, maybe they don't even know what a governor's role is. Maybe you can break down a little bit of that for us, because
that's a good way.
Right, like so often we feel like we know a bit more about like what a senator does and what a representative does, but I think some of us may know, governors have, financial responsibilities with budgeting and so forth, and they do have certain powers. So what are some of those powers and responsibilities that people may not know about that a governor is responsible for?
Yeah, so a governor's job really is to propose a budget that reflects the values and needs of the state, right? So funding all the different programs that you can think of. Two, it's managing the appointment process so that anyone who heads a government agency,
like a judge too, right?
Exactly, right? Judges, Department of Education, Department of Transportation, whatever you see at the federal level,
yep.
Every state has the same agencies.
Yep.
And the governor is the one that makes those appointments and so builds that team. And then really it's also enforcing the laws that are passed by your state legislature. So making sure that if a law is passed, it's actually getting enforced and executed in a way that's inclusive, that's accountable, and that really reflects the needs of the residents. So you are the chief executive of your state.
Dope.
That's really dope.
How does the lieutenant governor come into play, and what's the responsibilities of a lieutenant governor?
So again, it models, at least in Maryland especially, it models very similar to the vice presidency. You are selected by the governor, and you serve as that governor's vice president, lieutenant governor. You can get certain projects based on what the governor's priorities are. You can carve out your own role, but really it's to enhance whatever that administration is working on or doing at that time.
Don Juan has a question for you. I don't know if you can see it on the screen there. Wonder who he's speaking about.
Common sense and human decency would say, yes, you should not be leaving your constituents when they are facing a challenge. But
especially when you've historically bashed other people for doing the same thing.
That's the other thing. Not only is that true for every elected official, but especially for this one in particular, who we're talking about, who has bashed other elected officials for doing far less. It's just hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah. Don Juan knows a little bit about that in Texas right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough one to explain your way out of. I mean, it's stuff like that, whether you are good intention or not, I don't know him, and I have my opinions obviously, but it's like even if you were, the most righteous person in the world, you do something like that, it speaks back to your point of empathy. Just not getting it and not understanding the temperature, right, of your, not just your voters, just the world, right? I mean, this is these are, even though it's a local level, it's also a global issue. This is covered on worldwide media, what's happening in Texas, and then there you are bouncing off, And
I think it goes back to that point of also, I've seen a lot of times, at least in politics, sometimes people want to be in elected office because that's what they want to be. And they don't focus on what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, and why they're going into that field in the first place. And so, that's one of the questions that I keep getting asked, mainly because I'm young, even though I have a lot of professional experiences that relate to this particular job I'm applying for.
Yeah.
They say, oh, you're just some young millennial guy with a baby face. You just want to have the power. You just want to be governor and skip all of these steps.
Yeah.
That's not what it is, right? I have put in the work. I know what issues are facing my residents. I know I have policy proposals, ways to pay for those policy proposals. I've been a community organizer. I've been on the ground. And I'm doing this because I see a gap that's not getting filled. I see all these issues having the same debates over decades and not enough getting done. And so I said, okay, if not me, then who, right? So I'm going to step up and I'm going to be the, not to sound cheesy, but I'm going to be the change that I want to see.
Yep.
And I think
it ain't cheesy at all.
Risks is when and you're doing it in a genuine way. I think that's when it pays off. And that ties into some of the stuff you were saying, at the top of the hour before, with art, with music, right? Yep. You do it because you're passionate about it. If it gets successful, great, but you're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it to share a story about your life, to say what you want to be in the future, and to vent, all right, and to figure out how can you build a community around you.
Absolutely. And speaking of, you touched on music. I know you have a little playlist that you put together. Tell us about the playlist. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, music has always been a big part of my life. I'm not an expert like you guys, so I'm not even going to try to front. But no, it's just like movies are for me and magic are for me. Music is an escape. It allows me to relax. It allows me to take myself out of a situation, but also allows me to feel inspired. And so I do have a campaign playlist. And a lot of the songs that I have are really talking about an underdog story, right? So people that I can relate to who have been at nothing and have struggled and have worked hard to make a name for themselves and do it for the right reason, overcoming obstacles, and really just believing in yourself when no one else will.
We got one for you. We got one for you.
Ooh.
Yeah,
They said it wasn't nothing, right, Jay Cruz? Right?
I believe that
Wasn't nothing.
125,000%. But I gotta say, Ashwan,
Dope.
I feel your why. You don't even have to tell me, but I feel it, and that's key.
You could have
You're
led
s-
with it. You have a playlist, and we would have felt your why. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Keep it real. We're like, yo,
telling
this
you,
governor
man.
got a playlist, and it's got hip hop on it. Who you got in there, by the way? Who
Good
you got in
Lord.
there?
Yeah.
Who's in the
Yeah, I mean,
playlist?
I got Alicia Keys, Big Sean, I got John Legend, I got
Okay.
Jay-Z. I got some Keith Urban and Kelly Clarkson also.
Okay.
Some Macklemore. I got some Eminem.
Doesn't have ProQuo. I haven't heard ProQuo yet, but you know he might have to hear.
Yeah,
I wasn't nothing.
that's coming up. That's
Yeah,
coming
that's
up.
it.
Just
That's
sell 'em
what
on
it
that.
is. That's what. Yo,
Yeah,
tell us
that's
about.
her album too. Okay.
Absolutely. No, to your why and to your earlier point too that Jay Cruz was hitting on. We feel you why. We're there with you. But for people that may not know, tell us a little bit more about your experience. Like I know you have the Obama experience and let them know how that came to be and what some of your roles were with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've advocated for public policy at all levels of government. I got to work with President Obama and Vice President Biden in their White House and administration. So I moved around, but I worked one in an office called Presidential Personnel. So that was the one that was in charge of recruiting and appointing all the political appointees in the federal government.
Oh wow.
It was my job to make sure that those candidates reflected the diversity of America. Because I think representation matters and dictates how policy is enforced. I also worked at U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, so working on housing issues. I worked at HHS, Health and Human Services. I was one of the directors for the Affordable Care Act. And then I also had a role, which was one of my biggest honors. I worked with then Vice President Biden as his director of outreach for what they call the Cancer Moonshot Initiative. And so that was the administration's effort to find cures for cancer by building coalitions, by bringing people from all aspects of the cancer community, not just the physicians and the medical professionals, but the patients as well, and figuring out how can we talk, how can we bring each other to the table and figure out, what are some of the red tapes that we can cut.
Beautiful.
And that eventually led to Congress passing a bill that was called the 21st Century Cures Act. Right. And that gave billions of dollars in additional funding to the NIH and other organizations that fund cancer research. So that one I think was the biggest honor, because for me as a cancer survivor to then work with the vice president, now president, on this effort to utilize the power of the federal government, it was really impactful, and it kind of was like a life come full circle moment for sure.
So needless to say, in your budget, you'll have an understanding for the appreciation of healthcare. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And not only healthcare, right? And not to go off on a tangent, but I think a lot of times we tend to talk about issues in silos. When we talk about healthcare, we only talk about healthcare, education, climate change, criminal justice reform, but they're all interconnected because they're all tied in. And I think that's something that gets lost in a lot of the political discourse that, again, I try to alleviate. And that's why, if you go to my website, I really laid out details of not only each of these specific policies, but how they all come together and how we pay for all of them in a sustainable way.
Wow. One of the things that I always think about now in terms of, I've quite honestly thought about certain political positions that maybe down the line I would consider doing. School committee is one that rings near and dear to my heart, right? And so I can think about, maybe I'd run for school committee. And in this day and age, it seems like, why would a person want to put themselves through the ringer, though? Like if your life is not an open book, and we all attest to having that, and somebody like myself, who's not exactly an introvert, not exactly an extrovert, I'm much more of an introvert, but I've overcome it through things like these. I've understood, okay, I can put myself out there, but politics seems like now such an arena that you would have to be crazy to want to put your hat in the ring. It seems like you're gonna keep away great people who otherwise would want to make change. How do we get more people involved in this climate, though? And what kind of fortitude do you have to even want to throw your name in the ring? Like, are you fearing, especially with the conspiracy theories that are out there? Are you fearing like personal attacks? You already talked about, you got you're young, you're a person of color. In this world, in this climate we're in, with all the partisanship, how does that land for you? And what do we say to people considering doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough, right? It is very, very challenging to get insults thrown at you that have nothing to do with policies, right? Just for the way I'm looking, just for the fact that I'm taking the leap to run for office. They question my motives. They question my intentions. You know, that I think that comes with the territory. But to be completely honest, I feel like that's true for any field you go into. In anything you do, you're going to get people
It's getting that way, right?
right. I mean, you have people who question your motives, question your thought process and your intentions. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to knowing your value and knowing yourself. What exactly is your plan of action? Why exactly are you running or pursuing a certain field? And you know, what is the need? What is the gap? And how are you going to add value to that particular situation?
Yeah.
And so, yes, it is sometimes nerve-wracking to, you know, run against, you know, much older folks, you know, to go into a room and talk in depth about policies with folks who've been doing this longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
But, you know, people can see sincerity. People can see genuine care. And I know my value. I know my worth. I know that I'm doing it for the right reasons. I know I've done my homework. And I know that I can, that there is a need for a candidate like myself. And so I just show up to everything prepared. I do my homework. I put in the work. And I just keep smiling and I keep showing positive attitudes and try to bring people along with me. And I feel, you know, I'm not going to win over everybody, but in my experience, people tend to get over their own, you know, challenges and struggles that they're going through, and then tend to get on board once they see, okay, this guy's not going anywhere. He knows what he's talking about, and he's clearly not doing it just for himself.
Well, if you ever become and by the way, I was going to say if you become the front runner, I'm not even sure of what the field looks like. Maybe you could speak to that in a second too. But I was going to say, hey, you know, we were talking about that in hip hop too. You start doing things, the haters come out, right? You start making a name for yourself. Is there a debate that's potentially down the line for you? And if so, how many people would be in that? How does that work for governor of Maryland?
Yeah, so this is a completely vacant seat. So I'm not running against any incumbent. Our current governor is termed out. So what that means is there's going to be a lot of candidates running.
And you're early though. You're an early.
So I'm the first candidate to announce this year.
Oh wow!
But in the next couple months, by the end of the year, there'll probably be anywhere from 15 to 20 candidates who jump in, and a lot of great folks, to be completely candid.
So are you ready for the battle? Are you ready for an MC battle? Is it coming? Is there a debate? How's that work?
You know, we just exactly. That's all it is. But so in terms of a debate, a lot of times we have forums. So, you know, all the candidates, whether it's virtual or in person, we kind of get up on stage, they ask us questions, and we really just talk about our vision and our policies. It doesn't get as confrontational as a presidential debate would. So that's why we call it a forum, not really a debate. But that being said, right, this is a new time and there's a lot of new challenges.
Yeah, that sounds good on paper. Yeah.
And listen, my people, let me tell you something, my people. You cannot do there's two things you can't do. You can't be a great MC or artist, and you definitely can't be a great governor without changing your Nikes after burning the soles out a bunch of times. That work, that determination, knowing thy value, right? When you understand your value and you can be fully supreme confidence with that, right? You have that ultimate confidence. Now you got to start running and get ready, because you're going to run your shoes out and you got to get a new pair and keep doing it. You can't just like run, you know, walk your shoes and say, oh, what's happening? No, you got to grind. Yeah. And I like what you said, you know, educate yourself and figure out if you're in a field, like for us as artists, I feel like, man, I got it easy. It's okay. You, on the other hand, my man, your job title is like, wow, you're really having to do your research. You got to go in there. You got to, you know, being responsible for residents in the community, and like they're, you know, that's your family. That's the vibe I get. That's a really incredible challenge, and I applaud you. And let me tell you something, we gonna be pushing you when the time comes, brother.
I appreciate that.
Well, only if you answer Don Juan's question, you know, to his liking. Did you see what he says? He wants to know, does any U.S. state, including Maryland, have a right to secede from the Union? So going back to his Texas interest, right?
We will welcome you to the great state of Maryland anytime.
Right.
Anytime.
How do you
Oh.
stand on the DC movement though for the DC statehood? I'm sure that must be.
They pay taxes. They need to be represented. It's
There we go.
as that.
It's that simple, right? That's
Hmm.
it's crazy right now. I mean, that's
Yeah.
we're looking forward to that. What do we got to do to make that happen, man? Does Maryland have some sway in that area or no?
Yeah, I mean, so you're right. That's where Congress comes in. So that's where you talk to your U.S. senators, you talk to your Congress people, anyone who's listening, anyone who's watching. You call them and you say, hey, we care about DC residents getting their representation because we're all Americans. So vote for this. I mean, and that's where when I say, how do you get involved in politics? That's the easiest thing. You find a number or an email for your members of Congress. They're all online. And you call or you send an email. And that for a member of Congress, that is them hearing from their constituents. And if they get enough of those, then they'll sway in the right way if they didn't already.
Right.
And it's like this too. If you get enough sponsorships, right? You might have Olaf coming in with the most official, unofficial sponsorship. We got Frozen up in the building. Disney, I was a lad watching Disney.
Can Olaf actually be a sponsor? I didn't know if does Olaf have the power to be
Disney
the
has the power, but my baby girl be getting the Olaf.
Because I gotta tell you, I came with my official sponsor, and it's Pizza Hut tonight. And you know what? There's still a slice in the box. I'm just gonna tell you, it's Pizza Hut. And Pizza Hut, if you're listening, there's a chance for you to be the official sponsor. It is a chance. And you know what? I want to say. You almost became it didn't happen. You almost became the unofficial sponsor tonight because the crust was a little dry today. It was kind of like the sneaker soles that Jay Cruz was talking about. But you know what we did though? Last week we had the heart-shaped pizza and we were loving it. And I was like, yo, the crust was so good. And my wife was like, yeah, that was the thin crust. And she likes the thick crust. And I was like, oh, okay, let me try to get, emulate it. And it didn't quite work out. I was a little late getting it, so a little bit of the dryness was on me. But Pizza Hut, you're in the balance right there. You know what I'm saying? It could go either way. And we liking Pizza Hut, but I'm saying it's COVID time. People are ordering out. You know what I mean? You gotta come through. So Pizza Hut, we're hoping that you're the unofficial official sponsor that turns in to the official sponsor. That's all we want to say right there.
That's facts about that, man.
So Ashwani, before you get out of here, I got one request for you. So speaking of your playlist, you might not have heard this. So we have a song, right? It's called "I Wasn't Nothing," and you're
produced by my man M. Dot, Jake LaDotta.
And you're gonna hear Jay Cruz in this hook talking about sort of our process when we were younger, like trying to get to where we are, going through the education system and trying to become more involved. And despite the odds, people saying you weren't nothing to come about and make something out of yourself. So that sounds like it might fit the playlist. So we want you to take a listen to this, and we'll get you out of here after that. We appreciate you coming through. Thanks for listening to the music, talking with us, chopping it up with ProQuo, man. And this is I Wasn't Nothing, and you're checking out Ashwani Jain for Governor of Maryland.
Let's get it.
Yo, and last thing, I should have let in right with that, but I didn't actually have the audio set. So I'm now clicking the audio. But last thing too. If you are trying to hit up Ashwani Jain, he's gonna try to make sure that you have all the contacts right there. But make sure you hit us up too for any of our guests that come through. If you didn't get the contacts or whatnot, hit us up on the following week. We'll get you back connected with anybody that you need to, as we got all the contacts here too. So don't think if you just saw them one time you're gonna miss out. All right, so here we are. Yes. I Wasn't Nothing, ProQuo.
When they was telling me I wasn't nothing. When they was telling me I wasn't nothing. It's the show shot, making metaphor drop. Hanging on to something since I grew up on the block. People take you down and break it down to what you got. Looking at your feet, calculations getting dropped. Listening to beats, you try to break up out the box. Losing lots of sleep cause we be doing what you not. Fueling all my heat these when it's cold up in the spot. Gassing all these sheets when I be speaking off a top. Supplying for these streets, I ain't bigger without pop. I be lying to you weeks if I don't tell you what the scouts. I'm either trying or I'm dying when I'm riding over chops. Think I'm flying and I'm crying over everything I mock. When they was telling me I wasn't nothing, I called on all my brothers and my cousins. I never lie to me, that's how we function. Ride or die, that's the only thing we trust in. When they was telling me I wasn't nothing, I called on all my brothers and my cousins. I never lie to me, that's how we function. Ride or die, that's the only thing we trust. My dean passed me through the school system. Spit rhymes in the classroom, everybody different. D- to an A+. Math's finest, pull the grades up. I don't want a day once, trying to buy the day's lunch. Lenny told me blaze up before your day's up. figured how to raise the maze up. I probably praise luck. And y'all drinking. Morpheus hands and y'all thinking. Glorious lands where man's driven. Blow up his band, seeing addition. Multiply facts, subtract all of them subscriptions. Modified raps react to the truth given. 34 C's on the line, rock swishing. MCs, I look for anything missing. Just bees need to see the 7 C's in collision. Yeah, believe superstition. Got the reeds in the kitchen. Dead weight, more attention, fair weight, hard hitting. It's a cruise expedition, cruise line through the threads that I'm stitching. Blue lines, cocaine, not envisioned. Red lights, no brass on a mission. When they was telling me I wasn't nothing, I called on all my brothers and my cousins. I never lied to me, that's how we function. Ride or die, that's the only thing we trusted. When they was telling me I wasn't nothing, I called on all my brothers and my cousins. I never lied to me, that's how we function. Ride or die, that's the only thing we trusted.
If y'all know the mathematics is sick and prose and nastiest, then what's the reason why you would cross me like x-axis? You watch your mind when I rhyme, weaving the narrative, conceive more clean since probably Jesus of Nazareth now. What you see is the second coming of Lazarus. Lyrics fit for museums, lines cover pages like atlases. These Mary Magdalene feet clean with no calluses. Went from the street teams to sweet dreams and palaces. Swinging the Excalibur swift, lifting these chalices, dipping these feather pens into ink, thinking of passages. Had no talent for rapping, my class average was falling deep in the labyrinth, eating, sleeping these battle raps. My math aptitude evidence since the 3rd grade. Verbal skills ever since then, murderous wordplay. Mostly my attitude, only thing ever challenged me. That's why I show my faculty gratitude when they challenge me. Lord, baby, ain't no one bad on me.
I love that record, man.
That's really good. I think you guys got it. I think it's going on the playlist.
Hey man, thanks.
I need that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, man. Hey, none of it's out yet either. So these are all the sort of behind the scenes exclusives. But we get you that copy, man. We get you that copy.
That's really
Big
good.
facts, big facts.
Yo, we appreciate having you, man. It's great to see you again. And we gotta link up. Whether before or after. I know you're gonna be busy up until what? By the way, when is voting for the
June
governor?
2022 is the primary. So we got a year and a half.
Gotcha.
But I'm ready to have any conversations with anyone who's interested. Happy to talk deeper. And again, JaneForGovernor.com for all the info.
Dope.
Excellent.
Shwani
But
Jane,
no,
man.
it's an honor to be here. Thank you for all you're doing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to staying in touch.
Likewise,
Absolutely.
man.
We
Likewise.
definitely gonna have you back, man.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, brother. Appreciate you
All
very
right, man.
much.
Later, Shwani. Appreciate it.
Peace out, brother.
Shwani Jane.
Wow, that was great, man. I love
man.
having good. You can avoid all negative things when you surround yourself with so much positive. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's a
Really
good
is.
cat. He's a good
Yeah.
cat, man. Good cat, man. Yo, it's crazy. You know what? I always talk about this. I have to talk about it, but it's like it goes back for me, right? This meeting him goes back to the Battle for World Supremacy in 1993 when I got booed off stage. I went to Battle World Supremacy, 1993. Met Doomy. Doomy came with me. He was in the crowd. My man Fee. Met him. He moved to Alexandria. He was in Alexandria, Virginia. He moved. That's where I am now. When I moved out here, the only person I knew was Doomy. He booked me to do a show at the Kennedy Center. It was an MC battle. So got to do that. Ended up winning. It was as soon as I came out here. And the people that put that together were behind the scenes in doing a local TEDx Tyson's event. My wife had started executive coaching. I told her, I said, yo, you got to meet some of these people. There's a couple of people in here you're really going to click with. She met them. Sure enough, they met her. We went out one night after one of the events. And after that event happened. So shout out to Doomy. We're going to have Doomy up here. We all went out.
Word.
She met them. Sure enough, one of them's like, yo, you need to help coach our TEDx people. And before you know it, my wife was coaching. And then she was doing TEDx Tyson's, and that's where we met him at a TEDx Tyson's event directly from all that. And it's funny, again, you trace the roots of how this stuff happens, right? These good people that come into your cipher. Sometimes it can come from those situations, right? If you're not paying attention, that seem like the most dire, right? And out of these dire events, if you're paying attention and keep sort of the faith that if you're doing the right thing, right, that sometimes it works out if you stay the course. It doesn't always, but if you stay on the course, have a little faith and put in
you got a better
perseverance to work.
chance.
Yeah, and then you pay attention to how this stuff happens, and then when you pay attention to your own sort of history and stories and how these things come together. Met Rhonda indirectly the same way through that same event. Wouldn't have met Derek, her cousin. He was at the same event. That event for me was the linchpin in my life from all the wonderful people that I've met. It's just amazing how it tracks out. And I've tried to keep those people in my circle and expand that, you know what I mean, and pay attention to those situations. So I don't necessarily believe that it's like divine purpose that we do that. I believe you make your purpose, right? Which can be divine if you find purpose in it. I'm not so, crazy to think that, this thing happened because me. That's too self-centric, right? Like I didn't lose the battle so that this can happen or whatever. God ain't paying attention to you. Ray Allen says it best. God ain't paying attention to how I shoot a free throw or how I shoot a three-pointer. He don't care. He's too busy for that. You got to make the purpose out of that and have faith, and that's where the spirituality comes in, that you on it for the right reasons, the right paths, and you find your own destiny and you find your own manifestation of why these things are happening and put that purpose in there, man. And I just, say that to everybody, and it's great, testament to the power of that kind of thinking and wonderful people like Ashwani Jane coming into my life, which I'm thankful for. Shout out to my wife.
Divinity and faith, man. It's the reason why it all works out, right? I mean, hey, if to me the what's divine in it all is the awareness that you have. If you're lucky enough to have that awareness, that's divine.
Absolutely.
Because you can miss it. You dive in it. Absolutely.
Dive in it, man. Yo, Quo, tell me more. So I had to get in my pizza thing there, but I didn't get to fully hear. I don't want to, we don't need to flash the whole unofficial, official, but tell me how this became the sponsorship for you. What's behind this story? Because I know it has to be something about the daughters, maybe.
Yeah, in the record, right? That which one did I just put her in? Was it the one with Remy? Oh, Apologies, right?
Yeah. Ooh, so we might have to run that.
Oof. Yeah, we probably should.
That's like 85%, but it's close.
Yeah. So when she was doing her thing, right, I was she was wanting to play, so I'm like, yeah, hey, put the headphones on, have her do it, Mike. And that giggle that I put in there, she's like, I'm Elsa. So she's always Elsa. She got the whole like Disney wardrobe. She's got Belle, but Elsa's her favorite. She got two different outfits. Front.
Henry's down with Frozen too. He came up in right between both of those Frozens. You know what I'm saying? So he's right.
She fell in love with it, and so yeah, we got the Olaf shout out for my daughter because I was thinking about her a lot today.
That's it, dog. Yeah. You a good dad, man. That's how you raise your daughters, man. You gotta. I don't have a daughter, but I know, man, that you gotta put in the time and do some of the crazy things you wouldn't have necessarily pictured yourself doing as a dad.
Yeah.
Don Juan knows about that too, right? Being that good dad, right? Yo, shout out to terminology with the good dad gang. You seen that hashtag?
Yeah, big
it's
shout out.
Crazy, man. Shout out to us.
I got to get some of that merch. We got to start. I want to get one of them hats and rock it on the show for him because he's definitely
such a dope tag.
He's so cool too, man. He puts things for the community. He'll do backpack stuff for the kids and all that.
He's behind that too, man. Yeah, that's a dope movement. That good dad gang stuff, man. That's crazy. And speaking of which, he's got daughters. Have you heard like some of his recent stuff, man? It's crazy. I got like his second to last album.
Just heard.
And similarly, right? Like we're always talking about the parenting thing, which we put a lot of that into the album. He's on that vibe too. And it's like shout out to people that are putting that front street, right? Like being a lot of times the hip hop vibe, sometimes it's like looking like the player and the single dude out on the thing. And it's like, yo, man, that gets tired. You can let somebody do that who is, single and running in that, doing whatever they want to do or whatever. But some of us out there doing the fam thing, man. There's people need to hear that and see that, man. For us,
and
us as role models for our own people.
Hey, and for me, like when I listen to my music, I definitely need to have all these other lanes because I like listening to it. Like if I want a Mobb Deep record, I'm gonna listen to it. If I want some hip hop, whatever I want. But what's beautiful about our creations is we lead with that father figure mentality. Me more so now than ever because of the fact with the no cuss thing, excluding the all them
expletives,
Thank
expletives,
you. Expletive, I love that.
That was dope how you did that.
Oh yeah, it was like perfect, but yeah, it's really cool to be able to have our father lane, and it's going to also translate to a mother lane too, where we still need we still going to have our gritty, all our different lanes, but let's start making this fatherhood, motherhood lane like more prevalent, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yo, I need to plug in my wire because we're going to have no ProQuo Show in a second.
I was about to shut that up.
I really didn't even have the line in there, man. I was like, come on, we're going to have no ProQuo. Yo, let's run this. What's going to run? So give me a little backstory about this song here. Just a little quick one about Apologize.
Yeah, so Apologize is produced by my man Legendary off of the Freedom Corner label. Shout out Freedom Corner.
Today.
Legendary is just, he produced the Freedom Corner record that we have. He produced Apologize. And also this new joint.
Yeah.
Never.
Never's gonna be crazy.
Y'all hear about that soon. When you hear that, that's the anthem. But this is really a deep record for me and Pro for sure. Speaking on behalf of myself, you know, I've had to sacrifice so much. A lot of late nights, a lot of missing things, a lot of you know, things in my past. But what I did with this is I said, let me talk about right now. You know, still doing it, but as a father, right? So having my my child involved with it, and then Pro getting his child involved with it, in thought and in Sonics.
And you know,
really
Henry
cool.
recorded his own part, of course, right?
Oh,
He was
yeah, we
engineering
were
his part today, all by himself. I didn't touch
Sat
it.
down.
He did it
Yeah,
all.
he knew exactly what he wanted.
So this is great for us, man, because it
Yeah.
involves our kids in what we do, and they're so excited, as you know. Any parents know that the kids want to be involved in what you're doing too. So, anyways, let's run that. This is Apologize. It's 85% there. We got some work to do because, you know, it's mostly me singing on the hook, and you know how that can go. So we got to get that.
There. You still bodied it, bro.
We got to
Come
get
on
it there.
now.
Apologize.
Apologize.
Dad, when are you coming, Daddy? Daddy, where are you?
Yeah, I miss your company, baby. You know I died for you. 20 feet apart, hardly paying any mind to you. It's so real, trying to balance all my time for you. Woke me off the couch, I fell asleep writing these rhymes to you. Yeah, your trust factor so big. Eating dinner with the kid, saying daddy on the grind for you. Putting him to bed while I'm working off my head out late. All faith, shit, I never lied to you. Till we dead, the legacy survived through you. Can't wait to walk the big aisle with you. Yeah, she say she hate it when I talk a lot, but love how that pearl compass sitting in the parking lot. You my whole world, queen, home is my Camelot. Yo, Remy vying for attention, Ride looking for it too. This road to excellence, depressing when you all about your crew. I write a testament, investing in the things I never knew.
I know this hip-hop probably stole a lot of time. All these rhymes on robbery, sorry. And hit it big like the lottery, giving it my whole heart and soul, every part of me. Apologies. I know this hip-hop honestly stole a lot of time. All these rhymes on robberies, apologies. Got me switching up the policies, giving us the quality time I finally promised. Listen carefully, I remember times you were there for me, trying to make it better, but I never wanted therapy. In all sincerity, I always been there for you, but I was raised no emotion, playing careful. Rarely gambled, afraid of being hurt by any woman, so I always played the tough guy. Since high school, hip-hop and I cool. Prince poetry, pro busy writing haikus. Before the girlfriends, lips on a mic grill. Pretty young things to me, it's a song by Michael. Sure I liked you, and I love my family. Relationships fail, few understanding me. Hard for me, and I know it was hard for you. Still in love with the culture and the art form, but not more than my family and my life now. My wife and my son, that's my heart. Put this mic on. I know this hip-hop probably stole a lot of time. All these rhymes on robbery, sorry. And hit it big like the lottery, giving it my whole heart and soul, every part of me. Apologies. I know this hip-hop honestly stole a lot of time. All these rhymes on robberies, apologies. Got me switching up the policies, giving us that quality time I finally promised it.
Yeah. Quo on the engineering all day on this one.
Such a great record, man.
I forgot we had the one more cameo there from Remy.
Lil Remy, she was
Yeah.
loving it, man.
She's so adorable, man.
I'm blessed. We're both blessed, man. I'm like, yo, I'm just so happy that they both sound good in the mic. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And they sound the similarity. This last one, actually,
I
they
know.
sounded slightly different, but that first one was like,
Yeah.
wow, is that Remy? Is that Henry? Who is it?
Yeah. Well, you know, Henry did his part after he heard her, and she's in the headphones, so I think maybe he mimics it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But,
yeah.
He does. I mean, he can hit the high notes. You know, but when he sings for real though, he sings around the house. You know, obviously his mom is a real singer. You know, not a hack. You know, and she's the real deal. So he's surrounded by music and he's just singing all day. And I'm sure your kids, it's gonna be the same thing. But it's just
Well, what I've been doing, right, is I'll put
my
on.
son's got a voice though, so I like that better than me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I love like on Grandma's story when he ends it in that note, he hits that
Yeah,
note
yeah, yeah.
perfectly. It's like,
That was
that's
fun.
so beautiful. But what I've been doing with Remy, right, is I'll try to put something on that she knows, and I'll watch her, and I'm cheering her on, and then I'll start putting like a snap or a beat to it, and then
Yeah.
it'd be like, "Go Remy, go Remy," like
Remy.
to give her that like confidence, you know.
Yeah, man.
And what I'm noticing by doing it is she's staying focused more instead of like looking at me, trying to
Oh,
say
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Is
yeah.
that?" She's like really focused on what she's doing. Because a lot of kids, they come up to you and they'll start and then they get all shy and then they're
Yep.
like looking. So trying to keep her engaged, and it's been working, just pumping her up, saying her
Yeah.
name. You know,
Yeah, I
It's
will
cute.
just videotape Henry when he doesn't know I'm around. I'll just come up on him when he's singing a whole song and he's like, la, 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 la. And I'm like, what are you singing? That's such a cool song. And he's like, oh, nothing. And you stop and you're like, no, Daddy, that's the one I learned from the blah, blah, blah show or something,
Yeah.
They do so many in school too, so it's great, yo. It's definitely it's such a blessing, man. How music, how we can really bond. It's funny. I was watching a movie yesterday, just a clip of a movie, and it was just actually no, not a movie. I was watching WandaVision with my son this morning. Right, WandaVision. We big Marvel fans, as you know.
Yes,
WandaVision
sir.
comes out every Friday. Shout out to people watching WandaVision, yo. It's crazy, right? And they do the commercials much like we do the unofficial official sponsorships, right? They
I
have
know.
their
I
own-
saw. Yeah.
the commercials are hilarious. They build their obviously there's no commercials on Disney Plus, right? So they do their own commercial inside of this
Inside of it.
WandaVision kind of like sitcom thing throughout the decades, right? From like the 60s and stuff, 50s, 70s, whatever. And don't want to talk too much about it, but the idea is they do these commercials and the music that they play, any commercial, they were at the time they were recreating like a drug commercial, like side effects include, and you know how all the music always comes out in these. And if you ever watched one of those commercials without the music, I would love to be able to have, how like Henry took away the background of the picture when he made the logos, right? If you could do that for songs, right? Like or commercials, like suck the music out and just hear what the people saying. The commercials are so lame without the music, and it's like side effects include, and there's no music on la la la. Side effects include dizziness, nausea, near death, fatigue, warts.
That
It's
little
like,
symphony playing behind it to say,
Yeah.
"Listen, you're gonna be okay. We're
Right.
gonna play the symphony for
Right.
you. You
But it's
might
just
die."
right, exactly. But it's a testament to how music can just make you forget. It takes you to another
Yeah.
place, that transcendental kind of, it's all good. We hear.
I know.
a
I
beat
gotta
behind us.
start getting on my TV grind a little bit more, because I'm the type of person that I got the nostalgia thing where like I'll go to a movie that soothes me because of the music. Like I associate a lot of movies with that. And like the other night I was watching True Lies, and I'm like, let me try to watch
I
this
heard you
'cause
say that.
I love Arnold, man.
Yeah,
And it's
Arnold's the man.
just that, he's
Speaking of
always so
governors.
confident. Yeah, right.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Confidence is key. Personality, and when you can translate your personality, even when the camera's on you, that's a huge quality
Yo,
nowadays.
before we get out of here, too, you heard about it. Did
Yeah.
you hear Prince Marky D, man, passed away from Fat Boys? Just heard that news. Yeah, man. Earlier
man.
today. Yeah, Prince
Oh,
Marky D,
rest in
man.
peace, man.
Yep. It's funny because you were talking about, snapping the beats and all that, and I was thinking of the
Yeah.
beatbox, and I was like, yeah, Prince Marky D passed away. For those of you not familiar, Fat Boys, legendary group. Didn't last all that long, right? But I know they had
They had a couple hits.
right, and this is the second death among the Fat Boys, but the the beatboxing and lost art, man, lost art in hip hop. So shout out to rest in
And
peace,
didn't
Prince Marky D.
one of them got like in mad good shape, right?
I'm not sure about mad good shape, but
I
Prince
kinda
Marky D
remember.
definitely had dropped some weight too. But I think he was like a day away from turning like 53. I think, man. So it's just like crazy. It's like
yeah.
I don't know I don't think they had released the cause of death or anything, but I don't even want to assume anything. But just onto that, even in COVID times, you never know if it's that kind of stuff or if it even plays a role. But I think the other thing that people forget about is that we are maybe 90%, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, but we're social animals, but we do a lot of things as individuals, and it's when you lose that social component, it takes a toll on you. And again, that's why we're doing these kind of things, right? And just being on this format. And so I think that these things can be heightened. People can, face more sickness than they otherwise would have, even if it isn't the COVID. It's just the ramifications, right, of our mental state and the stresses that we add on. 'Cause stress is real. So that mental health and staying sane, however you can do it, man, is super important. Not just physically healthy, but that mental healthy too. So I was
just
gonna
as
say,
important.
yeah, definitely. I was gonna say earlier too, like I was talking about walking with like listening to the music. I recently, trying to get back in that walking vibe. I haven't been doing a great job because it's been super cold lately. But
Yeah.
the just walking with the headphones, listening to music, and just taking in the air, man. Just getting out and doing different things, and however it is you keep your sanity, whether it's tuning into a show like this on a Friday or whatever, or there's so many other things out there that you can have, but sometimes it has to be away from
And
this
really
too.
find a how, if anything, this is a time for those people that need to reach back in their memories and say, what did I want to do as a kid?
Yeah.
Like, what did I like doing? What do I enjoy doing? And start to figure that out, because it's an important thing when you can, be an old person, even if it's knitting, right? I mean, my mom be knitting still. It's like something that she enjoys doing, and she's going to do it for her whole life. Like, whatever it is, something, find one thing. And
Yeah, absolutely. It might not be making beats and rapping, but you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly.
It don't have to be. It can
That's
be
my-
card
that's my
tricks with a
fear.
Shawnee Jane.
Yo, my fear for the youth is that they lose that, and they only rely on technology and a phone and some virtual reality device or something, and maybe that is the future, and they're gonna be able to figure a hobby out on that. But bottom
I
line
got you,
is,
Jay Cruz. Tell me when to
what's
stop.
that? Oh, look at there we go.
You didn't do it. You didn't tell me to stop. Tell me to
I
stop.
stop. I can't see you. You're lagging.
7 of clubs. Oh man, you didn't see it?
Nah, I got a lag going on. I can't
It's probably
see.
me. It's probably me. Well, that's about.
No, it's not you. It's my internet.
Well, when you play it back, you can go, how did he know that? How did he know that was the 7 o'clock? No, I mean, I got
right.
2 or 3 tricks, but I like to
You
do them.
you were hitting me with those tricks, man.
Someone said freestyle earlier too, so it would be like kind of like this. Is like you have to tell me when to stop again. So ready? Tell me to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, you have to say it. Tell me to stop. You get ripped apart. Quick, I'ma pull up the 6 of hearts. You know what I mean? Like do that kind of put the freestyle in with the card and pull it. I know if it's laggy, you can't see.
Yeah,
but
he got the
that was
6 of hearts.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can. I see it. I just seen it now.
Right, and so
Yeah, brother.
that was a very, very simple trick, but you know what I mean. But those kind of things. But yeah, shout out to Ashwani Jane again. It was great having Danny White up here. This was a real cool show.
Great,
I
man.
appreciate.
This is a cool show.
And dude, and I appreciate you, man. The work you put in today, just in the last like couple hours before the show, you had like 3 different joints like remixed and like updated, and maybe
I had
4, I think.
I was operating 3 headphones, bro.
Dude.
I was like taking this headphone off, putting this one on, putting this. I was.
That's how you do it. That's the secret. Yo, and then you're like, we working on this one that we got in the shoot. We're on like a track 20, track 22, even though only 19 make the cut.
Yeah.
COVID-19, but this dude's like, on track 21, that's really not necessarily gonna be on there. I think I need your vocals on that. You just send me those. It's like
exactly
8:15. My show, man.
I'd rather go in there having a little bit more, and then like if we have to alter plans, we got a plan B, C, and D. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, right? One last nugget I want to throw out to people, right? We do all this work, right? And other MCs know what it's like to put in this kind of work. We do all this work. We've been working on this thing for a while, right? It probably won't come out to, midsummer, right? It could be later, right? But here's the thing. I don't even care. If it never came out, never made a penny, I know we made it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
as long as we had the link to the, you know what I'm saying?
It's like, and that's the best mind state you can take. I mean, I'm not saying you don't want to shoot for major goals that are beyond just, putting it out on your, your band camp or something like that. But like what I'm saying is, if you're happy with just the process, everything else is just the jimmies on top and the cherry on top. You know what I mean? It's just like anything that comes from it. You sell 2 copies, man. If you have that kind of mind state that you're just doing it for the music's sake and the purity of the art form as this release during these times to express yourself, man, all the rest is gravy. I'm not gonna say it take care of itself, because we are doing heavy planning behind the scenes as well too, to try to maximize whatever we can do without going nuts. But if you come at it with that approach, and nothing happened. You just walk away the next day, be like, all right, cool, I'm on to the next project. That's how I've been. That's been my mind state for like honestly like 20 years. I've been like, all right, I'm gonna work super super hard on this, and you know, if I make 30 grand off of it, 3 grand off of it, no grand off of it, I'm good because I got to go through the process, you know, and it's about self
and
betterment.
have that art for yourself most importantly.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like apologies, right? Like we branded the whole kids on the track, and when they're 20, 30 years old, they can go back and say, wow.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the timeless what we talk about,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Real cool.
So yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, I still have energy too, which is great. You know, I mean, a lot of late nights, but my ears are the only thing that's
That
hindering my
shoots, right?
process.
So last
Yeah.
thing I'm gonna do before I get you out of here, right, is that we just
Yeah.
want to promote another segment that we have, and try to send people over to our YouTube page. Now, our YouTube page, we gotta tell you, on full disclosure, you gotta have a bunch of followers on your YouTube page to be able to really customize your URL. So we have one of those crappy URLs that we don't even bother saying.
Subscribe.
Yeah, right. You can subscribe to the ProQuo Show on YouTube, but you got to do some searching to find it, right? You got to be like ProQuo Show, go to maybe my YouTube or Jay's or Hip Hop Citizen and find your way over to our ProQuo Show. We'll put some links on our page on here too, on our personal page.
We'll get that up.
We are doing a segment that's called Break It Down. And it's Jay has done an entire video breaking down the lyrics in one of our songs. And we played actually the song earlier. So I just want to show the segment, and we are loading content to the webpage, to our YouTube page, which is the ProQuo page, where verse by verse for each of us, we're going to go through and populate that with what we really meant, breaking it down. So we're going to do a sort of a mini live version of that right here real quickly, and then we're going to get out of here. So this is it.
I'm a killer, like the loud, I'm kamikaze. Salute the chief, the click deep like astrology. Rebuke the meek.
Yeah.
And welcome to the collapsed time frame segment.
Yeah, the 2-minute version.
We're gonna spit this. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Break it down. So Jay Cruz, you broke down for us your verse earlier in Chandeliers, and people, I don't even know if they necessarily know that our intro is Chandeliers, right? But you were breaking down Chandeliers. Oh, you're on pause. When Jay Cruz comes back from pause, he's breaking
the snow is breaking us up.
Yeah, you are good. But I was saying you were breaking down some of the lyrical content in Chandeliers, and I don't know if you are privy to some of those lyrics off the top of your head, or what you did, but you gave us sort of a nice rundown. Any way you can give us a sort of a mini rundown of
Yeah, and actually the one on YouTube is for Instant Brotherhood.
Oh, I'm sorry, Instant Brotherhood. That's right.
That's okay, but yeah, we'll do Chandeliers. I'll do a quick rundown of it. So basically, Chandeliers is a record that me and my man left, and we used to go by Drama Squad. We had a little clique and team back in the days when I was in high school, freshman, and we had a song called Chandeliers. He had the DJ X produced. The whole beat was produced, handmade, and all that. And it was kind of like a first, when I think about memories of music, like our first like real record. You know what I mean? So I started off saying Chandeliers Part 2 because of that, and then immediately after that, I stay reminiscing all my memories. You know what I mean? I'm thinking back.
Reminiscing of my memories.
Yeah, and like thinking about how I was a bad person and now I'm a good person. Benediction is where I'm presently, and keep your enemies close, right? So I swish on all my enemies, man. Like kill that. They have my melodies. Like I can't completely get rid of my enemies. I need them close, and maybe they become friends, right? So again, going to benediction, flipping it like that. And real wrap around parentheses, chill back, switch these energies. Yeah, that's just like, isolating our objective, which is to make good music, hip hop, right?
Dope.
And then Rem's lap, she's learned watching how I'm making this chemistry. Remy's my daughter.
I love that line.
So yeah, that's like the say, hey, I'm a father. I'm paying attention what I'm saying now.
Boom bap.
A new pap. I'm a new pap.
Oh, I forgot that line first.
Yeah. Grown men defending family, boom bap. We marching heavily, like coming back, everything full circle, boom bap, with the new bap. And Canvas laid for Timothy. No one really gonna know that, but my cousin Timothy Morrow, Catherine's younger brother,
right,
is an incredible artist, and he's the reference point that they used to that, because you give him the canvas, he's just like, yo,
Right.
incredible.
You got to really know ProQuo to know that line right there.
Yeah, that's a deeper line.
But unless you watch this, now you know. You watch him break it down, you know.
Look, chills in every breath of me, and I play your body symphony. That's like, when you get the chills, the music is playing it like the symphony. So that's that, meaning behind that. Check the choir, walk your destiny, twice the man I ever meant to be. Like, I always said to myself, look, I'm going to be better today than yesterday, et cetera, et cetera. But I've
New bat.
become, more than I thought I could be, which is great. And it's still, something that I'm always going to think about, be better and be better. So twice the man I meant to be. Pro said I'm the truth. Oh, no, actually, we rewinded. My bad. Every bar centerpiece, pick it off the lemon tree.
Ooh, Lemonster.
Yeah, so shout out to Leominster, Massachusetts. That's kind of where I
I
was
had to
really
ask you that
bred.
one. That's the only reason I knew. I was like, yo, that line is so ill. Pick it off the lemon
Yeah.
tree, and you were like, yo, it's got a little double meaning though.
Yeah, the sort of the double entendre of it is that the first thing you do, you pick it off the lemon, you eat the fruit, and I say that afterwards, eat the fruit. You make that
Bitter
right.
face.
That bar is hot, so that's that face. But lemon, the reason why I really wanted to put it in there is we
Stank face.
went by Lemon Town. Yeah, the stank face.
Yeah.
Lemon Town, Leominster. That's how that bar came to be, and that's why you ate the fruit.
Worcester County, shout out.
Yeah, Route 2, Worcester County. Dropping science. Oh yeah, I say Pro said I'm the truth. That's a doctor dropping science, so you know the math compute.
And he did say that.
I don't even need to say anything other than that. You already know what that means.
You the truth, homie.
A shout out to the magician, laid my foundation, built me out the booth, raised the roof. So literally, I'm saying like, built me out and I said afterwards, built me out the box, right? So my man Lenny Thompson, the magician, aka Mankind, he just helped me find myself and my true identity with my music. And that was the getting out of the maze, really.
All right.
And cathedral ceilings in my feelings.
Cathedral feelings
With the
in my
millions, like, yo, I'm going for the stars. I want big things, I think that we can stop there. I'm going on and on.
That's dope.
That's
Yo,
good
well,
enough for the people.
I'm gonna take him out though. I'm gonna take him out though with your verse. We're gonna fade out from there, and we're gonna get out of here. But yo, appreciate that. That's Jay Cruz on the Chandeliers track. Check us out next Friday. We got coming up. We got Kendall's coming through. She was up here in here a little earlier today. For those of you who don't know, she's got an amazing story too. So I hope y'all check out for that. We're gonna be posting our flyer that has our whole listing of everybody who's on. But for the month, we got the one coming up for March as well. But that will round out our last show in February. So. Yeah. Peace. Happy Black History Month, and
peace out, y'all.
ProQuo.
Thank you again, everybody, for chiming in and sharing and all that. Make sure you keep sharing. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and enjoy Chandeliers. How we do. We ain't hearing nothing, bro.